Here in St. Louis, a look at the 49ers sideline. They control their own fate. A win and they get the #2 seed. Meanwhile, in New Orleans, where the Saints are hosting the Carolina Panthers, they're hoping for a Ram upset and a Saints victory over Carolina, and the Saints would become the #2 seed in the NFC. Of course, the Packers, defending Super Bowl champs, with that #1 seed sewn up.
And Chris, Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, he knows, he gets how important this game is. All the pressure is on San Francisco. If they can earn one or buy one here today, as he said, they earn the right to have the bye week next week. And then you never know what happens around the NFL. Atlanta, the #1 seed, they lost last year. 49ers, they keep winning, could end up hosting the NFC Championship game.
Steve Spagnuolo's Rams won the toss but deferred, and they want to play defense first. So the 49ers will receive the opening kick as Josh Brown gets ready to go, and Kendall Hunter and Reggie Smith, that's Kendall Hunter, back to return. Ted Ginn Jr. inactive, the wide receiver return specialist, with an ankle injury.
And I like the move by Steve Spagnuolo. Their better matchup is their defense against the 49ers offense. So believe in the decision here to defer.
Game 16, 49ers Rams in the NFC West, and here goes Kendall Hunter. He slides on the St. Louis turf short of the 24-yard line. And that's where Alex Smith will lead the offense. He needs just 69 yards to hit 3,000 passing yards. That would be the first time he's done that in his NFL career.
Yeah, and look, they're a big running team. They're a big two tight end team, no question about it. Brett Swain is getting the start today with Kyle Williams being down with a concussion. Offensive line has really improved. Only 2 sacks over the last couple of games. Joe Staley on his way to the Pro Bowl. These guys have been together all year.
And a broken jaw keeping Delaney Walker out of this game and maybe for a while. That's Vernon Davis. Steps out across the 30-yard line as Brady Papingo ran him out of bounds. He's been battling an illness. A flu went through the Ram building this week as we check the defense.
Well, Chris Long, his best season as a pro for sure, 13 sacks. They've been much better at defensive tackle over the last 4 or 5 games. Issues at outside linebacker, the middle, James Laurinaitis on his way to the Pro Bowl as a reserve. Safeties have played good. They have been hammered with injury and inconsistent play at the cornerback position.
Second down 1, 2 fullbacks in. And the give is to Frank Gore, who gets the first down. San Francisco's all-time leading rusher, surpassing Joe the Jet Perry earlier this year. In fact, in the Ram 49er game when they first met December 4th back in San Francisco, that was a 49er shutout win.
Yeah, and it's amazing when you watch the 49ers week in and week out with all the extra big guys, if you will, heavy packages, tight ends, fullbacks, running backs. I had him at 24 snaps against the Seattle Seahawks last week with either one or no wide receivers on the field. Good example of that last formation, no wideouts lining up there on that play.
Well, you have Kyle Williams and Ted Ginn and Delaney Walker injured as Jeff Triplett, our referee, is going over
This is 14:05 in the middle.
the clock with Steve Spagnuolo. The 4-yard carry by Frank Gore set up the 49ers with a 1st and 10 from the 34.
And Steve Spagnuolo knows his defense today, they got to play great, period. I mean, they're going to have to play great, shut down the run, and make some big plays, because with as lackluster as they are offensively, if the defense doesn't play good, they won't have a chance.
At the middle scoreboard at 14:05 is the correct scoreboard clock. The other clock at the other end is not of this game.
All right, maybe not of this world. He wants to clarify the correct time. There were 2 different times on the stadium clock here in St. Louis. And they're trying to say it's 14:05, and now it's running. So go by the clock that we have on the screen. And it's 1st and 10 from the 34 of San Francisco. Just short of the 35. James Hall is there again to stop Frank Gore. And how much do you think we'll see of Frank Gore? He's had the sore ankle here. He's got, his 1,200 plus yards.
I think Frank's fine. I think, do you want to preserve him and not risk his injury by giving him 20 plus carries? I could easily see that today. but I could see he probably sharing the load with Kendall Hunter. Kendall Hunter coming off a career high last week with 12 carries. I could anticipate number 32 getting 15 touches today in the run game.
And the rookie is in at running back with 3 wide receivers. Smith's throw to Vernon Davis. Stewart got there first, but Chamberlain made the stop. And it'll be third down, 49ers.
Well, and that right there is another example of Alex Smith knowing where the pressure is coming from and knowing where his checkdowns and his outlets are. And you're going to see the pressure is going to come from up here from the secondary, so he knows Vernon Davis on an out route is the pressure beater, looks to his first read down the field, and then gets to his tight end for a nice game.
All right, on third down, 6 defensive backs. Pressure is picked up. Smith completes to Davis for a first down in Ram territory. And the Saints, by the way, at home against Carolina, have already scored. They lead 7-0. So they were keeping the heat on the 49ers for that 2 seed.
Yeah, and here's all the coverage here, and they end up getting Darian Stewart popped out on Vernon Davis as they rotate the coverage. And I like when Vernon Davis does that. That didn't look great. It looked like he stumbled a little bit on his break, but he can get you on those horizontal routes where he just pivots one way and then flashes the other.
Blitz is picked up and complete at the 36-yard line of St. Louis. Michael Crabtree's first catch of this drive and this game. And Alex Smith, 3 out of 3 so far. You mentioned it, Tim. Don't expect a giveaway. This 49er offense, 18 straight quarters, now in their 19th without a turnover. That's 4.5 games.
No, it's a remarkable number, and so far so good with a fast start. And look, we did the game 3 weeks ago. They were real choppy offensively in the first half of that game. That's an area where they haven't done well this year, and Alex talked about it yesterday. They got to start fast, especially on the road, and it's good here today.
After a 16-yard pickup. A handoff to Gore, trying to find a hole to get through. Rams did a good job against him in their first meeting. It was the reverses and some of those plays that caught the Rams in the running game.
Yeah, they felt like Steve Spagnuolo, they did a good job of defending the running backs last time around. But I would not want to be a defender trying to defend their run game. They do more in pro football, and Steve Spagnuolo talked about it watching the tape, than any team in the NFL with the variety of their runs. They're going to hit you with the strong side power to the tight end side. They'll counter back to the weak side. They'll hit you outside. They'll hit you inside. And it changes every week. Hard to get a tendency on their run game.
Colin Jones, a safety, comes in as receiver on the left side, 43. That's him in motion. They fake to him. They pitch to Kendall Hunter, who gets inside the 30. Let's get a game break and check on the Saints. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, the Saints keeping the pressure on San Francisco. 4-play touchdown drive to start the game against Carolina. Chris Ivory taps it off. 7-0 Saints with the early lead less than 2 minutes into this one. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. Here it's 3rd and 4. An impressive opening drive. 9th play of the drive, and there's Joe Hastings up from the practice squad at receiver. Smith's in trouble, gets rid of it, and goes down hard at the 45-yard line. No flags.
Boy, what a job by Darian Stewart, the safety, who's really playing linebacker in the pass coverages when they get into their sub package. Alex wanted Vernon Davis on the out route there. The read took him to Vernon Davis. Darian Stewart baited him right into it and then jumped in. Alex didn't go there.
One of those great moves by the 49ers, acquiring David Akers. He's going to the Pro Bowl. Will try a 48-yarder. This 50th field goal attempt, an NFL record for attempts in a season. He misses here. He already owns the record for most field goals made, 42 coming into the game. But the drive stalls. The NFC West champs move the ball, but come up empty against the Rams defense.
Exchange. Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
David Akers disappointed he didn't make the kick, but he did set an NFL record with that 50th field goal attempt. And again, he's made 42, the most in an NFL season. So the Rams take over on offense with Kellen Clemens, the quarterback. And Steven Jackson, the carry, who's met hard right as he got the football by Paris Harrelson. Clemens picked up from Houston after he was released on waivers about a month ago. His third straight start for the injured Sam Bradford and A.J. Feely.
And Steve Spagnuolo said they are glad they've got him. He has brought a presence to the huddle. It's pretty amazing when you think of him only being here for 3 weeks. The offensive line just destroyed with injuries. They do like Mark LaBour in there at left tackle today over Adam Goldberg. 6 different combinations of a starting 5 this year.
On 2nd and 10. They fake to Jackson, they fake to Alexander, and down the middle open. He slipped on the turf, but came back to catch the football. Brandon Lloyd with a first down.
Well, they love doing this, and they're going to fake a zone. Then they're going to fake the little reverse look, and then you're going to see Brandon Lloyd flash vertically down the middle of the field here. Good job by him adjusting to the quarterback in the coverage, because Deshaun Goldson wasn't going to let him get deep. He put the brakes on. He makes so many good catches.
Gain of
Brandon Lloyd.
Of 24, Tim, inside the 40 of San Francisco. They go back to Jackson. Trying to get outside. And he powers his way down to the 31-yard line. Tough running from Steven Jackson. And he's doing it against the #1 defense against the rush, and again giving up the fewest points, just 13.5 a game.
And those are the guys that don't get enough credit. Justin Smith gets quite a bit, but Isaac Sapuaga and Ray McDonald are really playing outstanding. Navarro Bowman, a lot of people thought as a first-year starter should have been in the Pro Bowl. We all know about Patrick Willis. And then this secondary, they will rock you. A couple of Pro Bowlers. They put the big smash on guys physically. They get after it.
Jackson got 7 on 3 tight ends here. He'll get the first down as he powers his way forward. Another 1,000-yard season for Steven Jackson. That's 7 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He's in elite company, and all of that with a team that hasn't had a winning record during that time.
And this is a staple of their offense. You don't block the nose guard. They call it the wham block, and watch Steven Spock on Isaac Sapuaga. Bang! Big collision right there. Madison gets a good block on the linebacker, and Steven Jackson hammers it straight downhill.
Fresh set of downs with 3 tight ends are going to stay with that. And Jackson the back. He carries, bounces back inside, makes something out of nothing. This Ram team, when you think about, they started out 0-6, beat the Saints on this very field with backup quarterback A.J. Feely, won 2 out of their next 3, but now they come in here with a 6-game losing streak.
No, it hasn't been good, but I know one thing, and I'll tell you right now, the U-Hauls, the trailers aren't packed out in the parking lot ready to go, because they have given great effort, and you'll see great effort for 4 quarters for their head coach, Steve Spagnuolo.
Open. 180! 160!
Kellen Clemens for the end zone, incomplete. Intended for Lance Kendricks, the rookie tight end. It'll be 3rd down and 7.
I love what they're doing formationally, because that time they walked Billy Badgema, the tight end, all the way out in between the hash and the numbers, and Patrick Willis went out with him, the linebacker, which immediately told Kellen Clemens, there's Sam Bradford
missing his 6th straight start.
Absolutely, but immediately told Kellen Clemens, when the linebacker walks out on the tight end like that, I've got man coverage, and he took a shot, just didn't make a great throw.
53 spike. Lay open. 180.
Clemens in trouble. He's going to run. He's got a first down. Kellen Clemens has a Ram touchdown. An 18-yard touchdown run by Kellen Clemens.
And this is what they love about him, is his presence. He's been in games. He feels the pressure coming from behind him and Aldon Smith. And then watch this nifty little move to punch it in. And that's going to count as a rushing touchdown, obviously. Only the 2nd one on the year against that San Francisco defense. You got to love that and be happy for Kellen Clemens.
Originally drafted by the Jets.
Wow.
Third career rushing touchdown for Clemens. The 28-year-old backup from Oregon. And with the extra point by Josh Brown, 6:20 in the opening quarter. A backup to a backup to a backup. But Kellen Clemens has the Rams in the end zone and with the lead.
Telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Here in St. Louis, Kellen Clemens, after a missed field goal by David Akers, in 62 yards covered over 7 plays, the touchdown run, and now the Rams are kicking off to Kendall Hunter, averaging 27 yards a return. And the 49ers lead the NFL with the best average starting field position. 33 yards plus. Let's see what Hunter does. It'll come out to the 20-yard line, where Alex Smith will lead the 49er offense. But the Rams, in what may be Spagnuolo's last game as their head coach, have the early lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Sprint. All football, no limits, only from Sprint. By Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at your local Jaguar dealership. And by Pizza Hut. Right now, get any pizza for just $10, only at your Pizza Hut.
Here in St. Louis, the 49er offense, impressive opening drive before stalling. Alex Smith, 4 out of 5. He's 30 yards away from 3,000 passing this season. It'll be the first time he accomplished that. He wants to get the Niners some points here. Kendall Hunter carries out across the 26-yard line. Kendall Hunter coming off his best game as a pro versus Seattle. Let's check in down on the field. And Jennifer Hale. Jennifer?
Well, Chris, the Saints are playing to win today, regardless of what it means for playoff position. Coach Sean Payton says there are some areas they want to improve on for the postseason, and this is the opportunity. So all healthy starters, including Drew Brees, will play until victory is assured. Now, there are some inactives because of injuries, including Jonathan Vilma, defensive captain. That's a big one. Chris?
Thanks, Jennifer. Saints are tied with Carolina at 7, but the 49ers control things as Gore carries. If they win, they get the number 2 seed, regardless of what the Saints do.
Absolutely. All the pressure's on San Francisco. And Jennifer was just talking about Sean Payton and things they want to work on. Greg Roman, and there he is there, the offensive coordinator, told us yesterday that the area they've got to work on and absolutely have to get better is on 3rd down. And you look at what they've done on the road. They have, week in and week out, been one of the worst in the NFL in converting here on the money down, especially on the road. This will be a big area they're going to want to improve on.
You saw Frank Gore on 3rd and 4. Will be tested here. Smith's pass behind Brett Swain. And Rod Hood there covering. It'll be 4th down. Let's check in again with Kurt Menefee for a game break.
Well, while the Niners are down, the Saints are tied. Cam Newton hooking up with Steve Smith, 12-yard score. It's 7-7 right now, Chris and Tim. Obviously, everybody watching New Orleans, that's a 49er fan right now.
Thanks, Kurt. So now they hand it over to Andy Lee, the Pro Bowl punter. Like David Akers, the 49ers with a couple of Pro Bowlers in that spot. Nick Miller, again, one of those players picked up during the season, but does have a punt return for a touchdown. Back to receive. What a boot. Inside the 10-yard line and sticks it out of bounds.
He is incredible. Andy Lee, is such a defensive weapon. It's ridiculous.
A 66-yard boot. Patrick Willis, 5th straight Pro Bowl, that injured hamstring December 4th. Back active today. After being limited in practice, his first game since that injury. From the 8th, Clemens incomplete. Tim, would you have brought back a guy like Patrick Willis, knowing you could maybe win, get a bye week, coming off that hamstring?
I would not have. And I talked to Patrick last night at the hotel, and it's, you know, obviously his decision. Says he wants to get out there and shake some of the rust off. but it was a lower hamstring. Typically those problematic, and the risk of retweaking that going into the playoffs to me is not worth the reward, especially as good as Larry Grant has played in Patrick's place.
The former Ram, Larry Grant, ready to step in when needed on second down. Here goes Jackson. Some room out across the 13-yard line. Emma Brooks brought him down. It'll bring up a third down. Let's see what Patrick Willis is doing.
Well, and you're going to see a lot of the Rams going two tight ends, which is going to make sure that they get a matchup with Patrick on an offensive guard. And that time it was Harvey Dahl blocking down. And Patrick did a good job of getting right to the ball carrier there. But Steven Jackson, those two have battled for years, head up on each other. It's going to be a great matchup watching the physicality of that.
On third down, they need 5. And Clemens goes down. Justin Smith, one of the 8 Pro Bowlers on this 49er team.
Always hard in protection to block a guy who's up on 2 feet, not down in a stance. And watch this ricochet sack by Justin Smith. Bang, Raggi pushes him right into the guard. He knocks the guard down and then ricochets into the quarterback for sack number 7.5. He is such a dominant player with a great motor, Justin Smith.
A former Missouri Tiger. Donnie Jones with the punt, and Reggie Smith comes in for the return. Excellent field position. He gets inside the 35-yard line of the Rams. So the 49er defense does its job. The offense takes the field now.
Chris, I've said many times the 49ers are playing the best team football of anybody in the league, and it links up. I mean, that all started with Andy Lee with the great punt, and then defensively Vic Fangio and holding the offense and pinning them into their own territory. Those short fields, this will be the 35th time, the best in the National Football League, that the offense has taken a possession on their side of the 50-yard line, created by the punt team and by the defense.
From the 33-yard line, Kendall Hunter the back. Smith has it, throws to Hunter, who goes straight up the middle for a 49er first down. James Laurinaitis, the Rams' leading tackler, having his best season, making the stop on Hunter, who's been active early.
Well, they keep you off balance. Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator, with all the runs and then the variety of screens. They got tight end screens, throwback screens, wide receiver bubble screens. That was a middle screen to the running back, and it really caught St. Louis in an awkward position as they were sending pressure.
Hunter last week against Seattle ran for 73 yards, his best as a pro on 12 carries. He gets a breather as Gore checks in. Frank Gore carries to the 20. Saw Justin Peel in there to help out in the blocking. The 49ers will have to get used to moving the ball without Delaney Walker.
Well, and Delaney Walker was really the brain glue that held this whole thing together with all the versatility. You know, Delaney had so many jobs and roles. And I know that Coach Harbaugh was walking around practice this week saying, who's going to step up for Delaney Walker, talking to the fullbacks and the other tight ends.
You saw Bruce Miller, the fullback, step over to the sideline for San Francisco. Alex Smith a little high, but hauled in by Michael Crabtree, who fights to get inside the 10 for another first down.
This game's still about blocking and tackling. We talked about how good the 49ers were, Chris, defensively, and their tackling. The Rams have been awful, and it's for reasons like this. Watch Darian Stewart. I mean, he comes and lays the big hat down and hitting Crabtree with a vengeance, but he doesn't wrap. You've got to wrap up and get people to the ground. The Rams, the worst tackling defense in the pro game.
And for Michael Crabtree, in 3 straight games against the Rams, he's had a touchdown. Isaac Sopowaga checks in, number 90, the big defensive lineman. And they give to Frank Gore on 1st and goal from the 10.
No wide receivers on the field once again for San Francisco, who play it safe down in the red zone. They know how good they are on defense. They know how good their special teams are. And Jim simply calls plays and plays to the strength of the football team.
Joe Staley steps out. Alex Boone comes in at left tackle at 2nd and goal. Smith just going to get rid of that. And it'll be third down. We mentioned a moment ago Pro Bowler David Akers and all those field goals. That's good that he makes them. The bad news is that your offense isn't producing touchdowns.
Well, but when you're built the way they're built, and you play defense and special teams like they do, it's a good formula for winning games. You're not going to make mistakes in the most important area of the field down in the red zone. And good illustration there of Alex seeing 3 guys out on the route, 3 guys covered, throw it away.
Third and goal here. Alex Smith slips, gets up, working towards the end zone. Touchdown, Alex Smith.
Touchdown, San Francisco.
He lost his footing, regained it, and somehow worked his way into the end zone.
Slips right under Chris Long right there, and then just pulling the ball up and cocking it like he was going to throw it. Made the Rams defense play the pass, and then look at the block right there. There's a chop down by Justin Peele, and I believe that was Frank Gore that had the other block that punched Alex Smith into the end zone, who is an underrated athlete.
His second rushing touchdown this year. He's the 3rd leading rusher on this 49er team. That's his 4th career rushing touchdown. And more importantly, with the extra point, Alex Smith answers Kellen Clemens. Who would have predicted 2 quarterbacks running for first quarter touchdowns?
Well, I could see Alex doing it, but certainly not Kellen Clemens. Such a good athlete. And again, I'm just glad that they're letting him show his athleticism.
Let's check in with Kurt Menefee on the Saints and Carolina. Kurt?
And New Orleans is retaking the lead. Drew Brees hooking up with Marcus Colston. Touchdown pass puts them up 14-7 right now. You know the importance of this game, so I won't reiterate it, but figured you'd like to see that highlight, Chris and Tim.
Well, thanks, Kurt. There are, the Lions are leading Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers inactive in that game, and a Detroit win secures the 5 seed.
Absolutely. The drama of this NFL season at the end, I thought the schedule makers really got it right with scheduling the big division games at the end. 12 of the 16 games here in the final week, Chris, have a playoff scenario attached to them. High drama.
And Alex Smith, who told us earlier this year that that's one of the things Jim Harbaugh told him having played the position. Don't be afraid to run if nothing's happening. Just take it and get whatever you can.
Well, the guy was the #1 overall pick for a reason, not just because he could throw it and he was smart. Terrific athlete and ran the ball a lot at Utah.
Rams score first. 49ers answer with 37 seconds remaining in this opening quarter as Akers gives it the boot. Jarius Norwood for the Rams. And that special teams unit on its game. Stopping him at the 13 is Colin Jones. Friday, one of the better bowl games you'll want to tune in for. Kansas State, 8th ranked, takes on Arkansas, 6th ranked. It's the only Big 12 SEC showdown. The 76th Cotton Bowl Classic live from Cowboys Stadium Friday at 8 Eastern. That's in prime time, 5 Pacific on Fox.
Speaking of running quarterbacks, have you seen Kansas State's quarterback Colin Klein? 26 rushing touchdowns for him on the year. He'll be a big challenge against Arkansas.
Josh Freeman, the Buccaneer quarterback, came from Kansas State. We hope you tune in on Fox for the Cotton Bowl. Kellen Clemens on first down. He was sacked the last time. Throws and completes across the 30 to Lance Kendricks.
How impressive is Kellen Clemens? I mean, Ray McDonald had him right in his sights. Watch Ray run around and get the gut pressure, which we say pressure right up the middle. Kellen Clemens, again, feels it, steps up, keeps his eyes down the field, shoulders square, and delivers a football to the crossing route to his tight end.
Second round draft pick of the Jets, picked up midseason by the Rams. Kellen Clemens has the Rams locked up in a tie game with the 49ers at the end of the first quarter. Happy New Year. Happy 2012. Starting the second quarter, first and 10 for the Rams. Clemens gives to Steven Jackson. His 19-yard completion set him up nicely. Interesting how the Rams, with Bradford hurt and then Feely's injured thumb, how they actually picked up Kellen Clemens when he was released by Houston.
Well, I know Josh McDaniels, the offensive coordinator, loved Kellen Clemens when he was coming out of Oregon. And when he was up in New England, and I think really had their thoughts on, drafting him in the next round, but he ended up being a second-round pick to the Jets. It's been interesting. I mean, here this late in the year, you usually think if a guy's going to come this late, he's got a link somewhere to the offensive coordinator. No link at all, except McDaniels liking him.
Just short of the 40-yard line is Steven Jackson. It'll bring up third down. Kellen Clemens in his first game for the Rams. He comes in off the streak, throws for 229 yards, a touchdown, and no interceptions here. His running touchdown got the Rams on the board, but he has a new perspective on the game after being cut loose.
Yeah, I talked to him the other day. He said that he started a game a couple of years ago. They beat Tampa Bay. He said he had no fun. Tunnel vision, trying too hard. He said his perspective now with wife and kids has changed. He's going to hang out, be prepared, and have fun.
They snap to Jarius Norwood, who's throwing for Kellen Clemens, and it's intercepted. Terrell Brown of the 49ers secondary came up from the corner spot and was not fooled at all.
Well, the 49ers aren't going to be fooled with trickeration. Jim Harbaugh told us yesterday, we got to be ready for all this stuff. And Terrell Brown, you'll see Terrell right there. It's a direct snap to Norwood. Bang. Now the quarterback's going out. T. Brown, the corner, sees it the whole way. And then this ball is a sky ball. There's just too much air under it. Lobs it up. Easy break for the corner to go get the interception.
That is another takeaway for the 49ers. 37 takeaways for this defense.
Wow.
And they only turned it over 10 times. So that's one of the reasons they're the NFC West
and
champs.
Look, they're on a short field again on their side of the field for the 36th time this year.
Pass complete to Crabtree. Now, Tim, let's go back to that play. I know you only have 2 wins. The creativity on third down for the Rams. Trickery is one thing, but you were moving the ball rather well with Kellen Clemens.
Yeah, and Steven Jackson was hitting it pretty hard up inside right there. And they just tried to catch the 49ers slipping. The 49ers are a bright, bright football team. They're so well coached. You're just not going to trick yourself into tricking them. That's all there is to it. They were all over it.
Already in field goal range. Now 2nd and 4 with Frank Gore in the backfield. Pass to Crabtree. Slips a tackle. Michael Crabtree has a 49er touchdown. And Alex Smith goes over the 3,000-yard mark passing yardage for the season.
And just a simple hitch and another missed tackle. I mean, he got stiff arm. That's a wicked stiff arm by Michael Crabtree, but that's been the story all year long for the Rams. Bad tackling. This should have been a 6-yard gain. Boom, perfect stiff arm right to the shoulder pad. It's touchdown number 3 on the year for Michael Crabtree, who's really by far playing his best football, Chris, as a pro, no question.
And for Alex Smith, as Josh Gordy missed the tackle, Alex Smith 17 touchdown passes. Akers' extra point is good and only 5 interceptions. So the Rams at one point had a 7-0 lead. But Michael Crabtree, his last 4 games against the Rams, he has scored a touchdown in each of them.
Today's game is sponsored by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by Verizon, the exclusive carrier of Galaxy Nexus by Samsung.
'49ers special teams along with the defense has helped out the offense, and these are some of the stars of that unit. In fact, the '49ers have not allowed a return for a touchdown at all this year, not a return of any kind. Akers ready to kick it off, and Jarius Norwood, who threw the interception on an unusual play call.
They would have called that in a million years.
That's has turned this game upside down, and he'll take the ball out of the end zone and be stopped just across the 16-yard line. C.J. Spillman for the 49ers on special teams. Some tough hitting, and the Rams will try and respond, trailing now 14-7. Hope you're having a great start to your new year. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, Jennifer Hale from St. Louis. The Rams at one time had a 7-0 lead, and now it's 14-7. 1st and 10 with Cadillac Williams checking in. Steven Jackson has actually run the ball well. And we got a whistle.
False start, number 62 of the offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
That call is on Harvey Dahl. The Ram offense starting 5 players, Tim, that weren't even with the organization in training camp.
Yeah, and I think that they were doing a good job in play calling up until that trick play where Norwood threw the interception. Josh McDaniels clearly is the guy calling the plays as the offensive coordinator. This was a bad play call and an easy one for the 49ers to identify and then get the interception, which led to a touchdown. But remember, at the end of the day, the head coach, Steve Spagnuolo, he's got veto power over everything. He could have called that play off.
Cadillac Williams carries on first down. So the Saints are winning 14-7 at home, and the 49ers here up by 7, trying to secure that number 2 seed. That all important, especially for those two teams, Tim. Saints and 49ers, a first-round bye, playing at home.
No question. And you think of the Saints and having to go to their place and play potentially if you're the 49ers and you have to end up going there depending on what happens. Saints score 41 points a game at home and I believe 26 on the road. All 3 of their losses this year on the road. They're a different team down in that dome.
On 2nd and 12, Cadillac Williams the carry, straight up the gut. Gets back to the 21-yard line. You know, one of the reasons we talk about the bye week, and we know wild card teams have gotten hot, like last year the Packers went all the way to the Super Bowl playing on the road, but percentage-wise the numbers are just in your favor, especially when you have injuries where Jim Harbaugh wants to rest people or hope that you can get certain players back, whether it's a Ted Ginn or a Kyle Williams. Look at the percentages, the chance if you play in that wild card, you only 6% to get to the Super Bowl, and 38% if you have the first round bye. Clemens goes down, second sack of the game, and Ahmad Brooks would not let him go. That's 54 sacks given up by the Rams, the most in the NFL.
And here's Ahmad right here, sack number 7. Pressure comes this way. Watch him loop around and then just turn on the jets. And the whole key to that is coming tight. Tony Raggi, the center, is supposed to come off and turn back and block Ahmad Brooks, but because Ahmad took it so tight in terms of his angle to turn the corner, Raggi had no chance.
Donnie Jones, Reggie Smith. He steps out of bounds, and there's a flag down back at the 5-yard line.
It's going to be holding against the Rams, I believe.
After a 52-yard punt. Well, it's tough to talk about momentum with a 2-win team, but boy, it shifted in a hurry on that trick call that backfired on the Rams.
Holding number 53 of the kicking team prior to the kick. Half the distance to the goal, still fourth down.
So David Nixon.
Yeah, here he is here. He's holding Tavares Gooden, it looks like. Clearly wrapped around his chest plate. And you know what? There's no margin for error with this football team. When you have 2 wins and you're not very good, you've got to be clean, period. 49ers had them deep back in their own territory. Now the 49ers got an opportunity to get the ball again on their side of the 50-yard line.
49ers have won the turnover battle so far, the field possession game. And I think Jim Harbaugh is deciding whether he can take yardage. Well, of course he wants him to re-kick it.
Absolutely.
You got the punter backed up at the end zone. Good opportunity for a block here if the Niners want to go that route.
That's a good job. All right, here we go.
All right. From down there up here and into your living room. It was close. Reggie Smith inside the 40. Here comes a flag right where Smith took in the football. And they bring him down at the 47-yard line. And David Nixon, who the penalty was on, the special teams player, made the tackle after a 55-yard punt.
Boy, Brad Seeley, the special teams coach, took the risk of going for the block. Tremaine Brock comes off of his guy covered up. And they send everybody to try to block it.
Return, illegal block in the back. Number 20 of the return team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Madieu Williams, the backup defensive back.
And you love the fact that you're trying to block it and get a big one down in the end zone, but that's foolish if you're Medea Williams. I mean, you set up a return, you're getting the ball past the 50-yard line.
Today's game is sponsored by Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers.
Bruce Miller has tweaked his knee, guys, and right now his return is questionable. Chris?
Thanks, Jen. Marin Norris in at fullback with Frank Gore. First down from the 33, and here comes another flag. The field position game, the 49ers lost out when they went for the block punt and had the penalty. And we'll sort this one out. Touchdowns in the game so far. Alex Smith a run and another throw to Michael Crabtree. Kellen Clemens ran one in for the Rams only score.
I'll tell you this, with Bruce Miller and his knee injury going down, that is going to stress them out significantly in terms of how Greg Roman likes to call a game with heavy tight ends and fullbacks.
Neutral zone infraction, defensive end of the defense. When into the neutral zone, calls the wide receiver to react. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, now with Delaney Walker being hurt for going to be a good portion of time with a broken jaw, I mean, there's so much of their plays go with 2 running backs, a fullback, a couple of tight ends in the game. This is going to hurt them.
Kendall Hunter on a 1st and 5 carry across the 40. Let's check in on the Colts. Rams and Colts in a battle for the number 1 overall pick. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Yeah, battle in quotations. And right now, Jacksonville has a lead on the Colts. Blaine Gabbert to Chaston West, 23-yard score. They lead at 7-3 right now, Chris. Of course, the Rams and the Colts battling out for number 1. If Indy loses, they get it regardless.
Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, the Rams would need to lose and hope the Colts win to get that number 1 overall pick, as Isaac Soboaga from the defense and all that girth checks in on offense at 2nd and 2 to help.
No receivers on the field.
Covering for the fullback position as they give it to Gore, who kind of leans forward toward the first down marker. When Bruce Miller was out injured in the game against Baltimore, they really missed him in that game.
No, he's had a great year. Former defensive lineman coming out of college. And how would you like to be Brady Papinga right here on the edge, taking on 330 pounds of fury? Watch Soboaga hit Brady Papinga and then just finish him to the ground. You have no idea how strong Isaac Soboaga is. I was asking about lifting weights, and 315 on the bench press with the 3 plates on each side. 43 times he jacked that up.
Offense, defense.
Unbelievable strength.
He got to help get him the first down. Alex Smith with time for Vernon Davis. He has it. All the way down to the 12-yard line.
There is the speed of Vernon Davis. Listen, Josh Gordy has been targeted all year, but watch a tight end who's just going to get outside and run a wheel route, just separate from the cornerback. And I'll show you where it happens. Right there, look at the gap of separation that he created on a much smaller player, the cornerback, and a very good throw from Alex Smith.
We're seeing more of a passing offense without 2 of their normal receivers and tight end and fullback. A 44-yard connection. Here comes pressure. It's picked up. Smith can't get away. Goes down at the 20 in the arms of Chris Chamberlain.
One thing Steve Spagnuolo loves to do defensively, especially when they get down near the red zone, is they are going to send pressure. And you're going to see right here, number 57, Chris Chamberlain, as he comes to the inside. Kendall Hunter hits him, but doesn't sustain his block. And Chamberlain comes off of it for a sack.
His 2nd of the season.
He's had a pretty good year. You got to give Chamberlain credit. I mean, this is definitely his best year here in St. Louis.
Loss of 7. Smith throws in a crowd to Kendall Hunter, and it'll be 3rd down.
3rd and 17.
Freddie Robbins was all over that one. Anytime a defensive lineman beats an offensive lineman that fast, it's got to be heads up for a screenplay, and he got right on Kendall Hunter.
From the 20-yard line, they need 17 for a first down. Well within Akers' field goal range. He missed from 48 earlier. Pass complete. Crabtree running and brought down. Good tackle around the ankles at the 19 and 18-yard line by James Butler. So it'll be fourth down for the 49ers.
Another example of managing risk. I mean, they're just not going to call anything that's going to be a high-risk play down here in the red zone. And again, I mean, the red zone woes have been all year long for the San Francisco 49ers, and that's why David Akers has had such a great year kicking field goals.
In their 20th straight quarter without a turnover, that's a 49er, a team record. And now Akers to try and add to the lead from 36 yards. And he got it. He was moving right, but made it through the uprights. 49ers add to their lead after a Vernon Davis grab from Alex Smith sets them up. Rookie Aldon Smith, who from Missouri, with 14 sacks of the quarterback. And if he gets one more, that'll set the rookie record, the NFL rookie record held by Javon Curse. One of four Smiths on the team. You got Alex, you got Reggie, you got Justin Smith, who taught him a lot from Missouri. In fact, he broke Justin Smith's Missouri sack record. We'll see him in action in a moment as the 49ers kick off. And Jarius Norwood from his end zone decides to down. You know, this time of year, a lot of people battle the cough. The Smith brothers were famous for their cough drops. Well, the 49ers have their own version of the Smith brothers. The perfect remedy against any offense. They swarm, they smother, they make it uncomfortable. Justin and Aldon Smith.
Well, and Jim Harbaugh's the only one with a prescription for the Smith brothers. Aldon, let me tell you something. Justin is great. 3 Pro Bowls. He's been fantastic. Aldon knew he would come in and make plays, but not to this degree. I mean, this guy could be the best pass rusher ever in the NFL as a rookie with one more sack.
On first down, they go back to Steven Jackson. Here comes a flag. Rams have had 3 penalties called on them so far.
And this is what Justin Smith does in the run game. He's just going to chew on double teams all the time and stack it up. And watch how he builds a wall with 2 guys, no movement. You're going to end up having a linebacker. Could hardly hear Jeff there. Called the penalty on San Francisco. First down.
On Paris Harrelson, number 98.
But that's what Justin does. And not only does he get after the passer, but it all starts in his run defense by stacking up 2 guys and building a wall.
Harrelson called for hands to the face, so that'll give the Rams a first down. And they go to Jackson. And Aldon Smith at a point, he comes in on 3rd downs, but you see him as being an every down defensive player.
No doubt. That's the next stage of his development, is a guy that by formation, when offense is formation into coverage, he'll be able to handle that. Right now, he's a designated pass rusher and comes in during the passing downs and gets after it. But I know he was a tremendous high school basketball player. When you have those kind of skills, you just start to learn passing routes and passing concepts. He can play zone coverage all day long in the passing game.
Kellen Clemens, pass is dropped. Lance Kendricks, who's had a drop problem much of the year.
Well, those are the things, Chris, I talked about. No margin for error. Make plays, seize opportunities. Everything goes right. The 49ers dial up a blitz. You look at Patrick Willis comes inside, Steven Jackson blocks it up, and Lance Kendricks drops it versus one-on-one coverage.
On 3rd down, here comes Aldon Smith, the rookie, with more than 16, 17 tickets for family members here to watch him play in person.
Well, they better keep 2 guys in to block him.
The ball is fumbled, and it looks like the Rams got it back. Steven Jackson swarmed back to get it. Ahmad Brooks and Justin Smith were all over it, but the Rams will be forced to punt.
You saw what Kellen Clemens did. I mean, that wasn't a good snap, but right before the snap, he looked to the right and recognized that the 49ers were sending coverage with Aldon Smith out there as well. Not a good snap, but clearly lost vision of it and dropped it.
So the Rams, a drop pass, a botched snap, and now they're punting. And Reggie Smith back for the 49ers. Spins up to the 34-yard line. After a 56-yard punt, a 10-yard return. Coming up on Wednesday, January 18th, TV's biggest phenomenon, American Idol, back for an all-new season, and the talent ready to shine. So we hope you join with Randy and Jennifer, Stephen, and Ryan. I'm on a first-name basis with all.
Are you?
Welcome back, America's number one show, American Idol. The two-night premiere begins Wednesday, January 18th on Fox. Now, I know you have a vote for Coach of the Year. We'll be talking about that because Jim Harbaugh has that all but wrapped up.
I agree with that.
23 set.
I'm not ashamed to admit I love American Idol. That's up to you.
Hey, kill. Hey, from top of the red 80. Red 80.
There was no flag. A botched snap and incomplete.
And they want grounding over on the Rams sideline. Brett Swain was out in the area. The ball was well short.
Receivers in the area.
Yeah.
Number 18 in the area in the vicinity of the pass. Second down.
See, there's Swain. He's going to get vertical right there.
San Francisco 34.
Steve Spagnuolo is going to start saying, hey, that's intentional grounding. He's in the pocket. When it's short like that, typically they're going to let you get away with it as a receiver in the area.
Kendall Hunter on 2nd and 10 goes nowhere. Brady Papinga with a tough tackle. Let's check in again. A game break. Here's Kurt Benefit.
From Brady Papinga to Tom Brady. His team was down 21-0 at home to Buffalo, but the comeback is on. Brady hooking up with Aaron Hernandez is now 21-14. Chris and Tim, a Patriots victory. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC no matter what happens elsewhere.
Thank Kurt. Kurt keeping us up to date on all the games, including the number 1 seed in the NFC, the Packers, who are trailing the Lions. And right now the Saints lead Carolina 17-10 in the second quarter. On third down, the pass complete, but Vernon Davis does not get the first down.
Yeah, and that's what Steve Spagnuolo loves to do on defense. He's going to send the pressure, Craig Dahl off the edge, and force the quarterback to throw to what's the hot read. And that's the receiver, or the tight end in that case, that beats the blitz. But knowing that the quarterback's going to throw there, he's got 3 guys in the area to rally up and make a tackle on those long down and distance situations. Perfectly executed.
Andy Lee, we mentioned Pro Bowl as Nick Miller is set to return. Andy going to his 3rd Pro Bowl. And that last boot, a 66-yarder. And he lines this one into the end zone. Rams will come out to the 20-yard line. 49ers, we know, are in the playoffs. Will they be the 2 seed if they win? We know that they will. They made the playoffs last time, 2002. Remember the wild card game against the Giants? They rallied from 38-14 to take the lead when Ty Streets holded a touchdown with a minute left. And then the Giants muffed the field goal try as time expired. And the 49ers held on to win 39-38. As Terrell Owens was on that losing team, and they're hoping to get the bye and have that off week as the Rams snap in a hurry. Kellen Clemens just did get it over the head of Navarro Bowman, intended for Denario Alexander.
Well, that was a perfect throw from Kellen Clemens, but a better play by Deshaun Goldson, who looked like he got a hand in there and swatted it out.
Going to the Pro Bowl as a 1-year deal. He came back to the 49ers. They weren't sure, and he ends up with 6 interceptions.
I've seen him really only make 1 bad play all year, and I know there have been more than that, but watching Deshaun Goldson, it was the play against Arizona, Larry Fitzgerald, when he went for the interception other than the tackle. Ended up really beating San Francisco in that game. He's having a great season.
Steven Jackson nowhere. They'll bring up 3rd and long for the Rams. Clemens started out well. But against this 49er defense, 2 of 6. He has the touchdown run. Steven Jackson, 35 yards on 10 carries. And Alden Smith back in for the pass rush.
And here's where you worry about pass rushers like Alden Smith in these long down and distance situations. It's going to take time for the routes to develop down the field.
They're going to run with Steven Jackson, and Navarro Bowman wouldn't let him go. 49ers are going to use a timeout with just 3:06 to go in the half.
Chris, outstanding linebacker play by Navarro Bowman. He's going to step up and fill the gap. He's going to take on a blocker and keep his outside arm and leg free and go make the tackle. Watch him take on the puller. And Jason Brown had no chance to block him, just ran right around him and makes a sure tackle on Steven Jackson. That guy right there, to me, should have been in the Pro Bowl, Navarro Bowman.
49ers with a 17-7 lead, and the Rams forced to punt. Donnie Jones has been busy. San Francisco hoping to get Ted Ginn back with the ankle injury. Kyle Williams a concussion, both inactive today. I haven't seen much of Joe Hastings, the practice squad receiver, brought up for this game. Reggie Smith. And he keeps churning across the 42-yard line. And the ball may have come out, but the 49ers maintain possession. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers again. Happy New Year from St. Louis. And an early read on the 49ers, who said they need to win this game, so they're set up with that 2 seed.
Well, they're playing classic 49er football. They've taken it away on defense. They're giving up 3.5 yards a carry to Steven Jackson. They're 3.4 on the year. They're winning the field position game, and they're not making mistakes offensively, and they're kicking field goals. That's won them 12 games this year, and they're on their way maybe to number 13. That's their recipe for doing it. So nothing new for San Francisco.
Alex Smith, a touchdown run, a touchdown pass. He just missed a little slow on that throw to Vernon Davis, or he would have had another.
Yeah, I think he wishes he had that one back. Big one down the sideline. If that ball was thrown a little bit better, it was 6 points.
Kendall Hunter takes the pitch on first down and has room. Knocked down at midfield.
Hunter's the ball carrier. Tackled by Robbins.
All that variety in the run game, even without Delaney Walker or Bruce Miller.
Well, and this is just a pitch out to the strong side, and it's called the stretch play, and Alex is going to toss it, get everybody going sideways, and Hunter does a good job there reading the block by Jonathan Goodwin. They make you defend every gap along the line of scrimmage. The field's 53 yards wide, and defensively you got to defend all of them.
Alex Smith on 2nd and 5 completes. That's Brett Swain for the first down. With the Packers out of San Diego State. He was signed back in October when Josh Morgan suffered the leg injury and was done for the season.
Well, and he's only played 5 games, and of course he's going to have to be a part of this offense going forward with the release last week of Braylon Edwards. And I have no problem with them releasing Braylon Edwards. He certainly wasn't helping him win games. You go back and watch what he's done this season.
We have reached the 2-minute warning. Jim Harbaugh's defense has done its job, and Alex Smith with a touchdown run and a throw. The Niners by 10.
Today's game is sponsored by Visa. More fans go with Visa.
James Laurinaitis of the Rams, a Pro Bowl alternate, along with Chris Long. First down for the 49ers in Ram territory. And Kendall Hunter carries, and Hunter has another first down. Hunter's 6th carry of the day.
And I'll tell you who gets it started is the center, and watch the block back by Jonathan Goodwin, and watch him finish the defensive lineman. I mean, just puts him on his back. The safety overruns it, and it's a big gain downhill.
Quickly to the line. Alex Smith throws, completes to Hunter. And a swarm of Rams led by Laurinaitis and Craig Dahl stopping short of the 30-yard line.
And Alex is going with the hurry up. They like the personnel grouping they've got the Rams on the field with. The Rams cannot substitute because the 49ers are not substituting, and they're playing with the 3 wide receiver package.
And 6 defensive backs for the Rams. A 2nd and 10. That's complete to Vernon Davis. Knocked out of bounds. 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining. They'll be facing a 3rd down here. Vernon Davis already has 6 catches today. Crabtree has 5, including the touchdown grab.
Look at this. I mean, they have spent the day on their side of the 50-yard line.
But if the Rams can keep them to a field goal, it's still a 2-score deficit.
On the Rams side of the 50 the whole game.
Pass is incomplete, intended for Joe Hastings, but the rush was on Alex Smith. He was fortunate just to get rid of that.
Yeah, Robert Quinn coming off the edge. He's hit a bit of a wall in terms of his sack numbers. Had 5 sacks about 5 weeks ago, none since. But he is a guy that's got huge upside for this defense. Joe Staley blocks down a little bit, and you can just see the speed that Robert Quinn has when he turns the corner.
David Akers lines up for a 42-yard field goal try. He missed from 48, made one from 36. Snap, hold, kick, good. And the 49ers, who once trailed 7-0, now lead 20-7. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, we'll have scores and highlights from a busy New Year's Day in the NFL. A lot of games that really set the table for the playoffs, including New England trying to wrap up the top seed in the AFC, and the Jets trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. It's all on the Visa Halftime.
They're just saving their energy for what's going to be a crazy afternoon to figure out the playoff matchups in the NFC. And you have the Saints at home tied as they go to the half with Carolina at 17.
Well, and Saints obviously the big story, getting ready for the postseason and the year that they've had. But I'm really excited about the future of the Carolina Panthers and the job that Ron Rivera has done down there with Cam Newton, who I believe is going to be the offensive rookie of the year. And they get a few players on defense next year, and it's going to be a tough win or a tough loss for anybody.
And Jacksonville is leading Indianapolis at the half 10-3. And if the Colts lose, it doesn't matter what the Rams do. Indianapolis would have that first overall draft pick. Rams with all 3 timeouts remaining. Jarius Norwood will down it. And the Rams will come out to the 20. It's a doubleheader day on Fox to close out the regular season. Coming up after us, the Bucs and Falcons, or the Seahawks and Cardinals. Of course, Kurt Menefee and the guys will keep you updated on all the other games. And wrapping it up with a post-game show to sort out who's in, who's out, who plays where when the playoffs begin next weekend. The 49ers are one of those 5 teams at least for the 16th straight year that have made the playoffs after previously not being in the playoffs.
Be very careful here if you're Kellen Clemens.
Steven Jackson on a screen. He has a first down across the 34-yard line. Rams will use a timeout. They have 2 remaining. Steven Jackson among the top 50 rushers all time in the NFL, but the only guy who's never played on a winning team. Again, 7 straight seasons of 1,000 yards or more, and he gives it every down, every day, no matter what the situation.
Well, he's been the emotional leader here for years, and I asked Steve Spagnuolo about him the other day. I said, how do you, I mean, we did the game last week with Adrian Peterson, a meaningless game. They lose their best player and their running back. He said, I can't tell Steven Jackson that he can't go and that he's not going to be the leader of our football team offensively. He's really a great human being, too, because you've never heard him complain or throw any of his teammates or coaches under the bus, despite not winning a lot of games.
Pass is low again, but hauled in by Brandon Lloyd. The contortionist over there came in with 45 catches and 4 touchdowns, an in-season acquisition by the Rams. And 2nd and 1. Receiver fell down. It was Kendricks. It'll be 3rd down. 26 seconds with 2 timeouts for each team. We have not called Patrick Willis's name in the first half. He's been out there.
Yeah, at least we're not calling his name for retweaking that hamstring. That's the most important thing.
Well, I asked Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator, in pregame warm-ups yesterday, you just want to get him in the flow of the game. He just looked at me and said if he's healthy, he plays. That's the 49er approach, and he's playing.
180!
Clemens for Brandon Gibson. He was double covered. It's 4th down. Goldson and Rogers were back there. A couple of Pro Bowlers.
Well, you got to like the fact that Kellen Clemens and Josh McDaniels offensively tried to come out in under a minute and make things happen. Down 13 points against that defense. I know a lot of teams that would have come out and ran the ball 3 times and felt good about going to the locker room.
5th punt of the game for Donnie Jones. If indeed he decides to boot it. No fake here. And kicks into the end zone with 13 seconds remaining in the first half. Jim Harbaugh, a quarterback in the NFL for 15 seasons, drafted by the Chicago Bears, hit a high point with the Colts, 129 career touchdown passes, but brought that same mentality to San Francisco, where he has applied it towards Alex Smith. Having played the position, Alex Smith says has been a blessing.
Well, that means something. I played 3 years with Jimmy. He's got the street cred, if you will, coming in here. And I know this, winning breeds confidence. So does a common sense, intelligent game plan. And Jim, the players knew from day one that this guy knows his football. And that hasn't always been the case here in terms of what their theme was offensively.
49ers have things well under control. They have the lead at the half. Rams will get the ball to start the second half. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee and the Visa halftime report. Happy New Year from St. Louis. The 49ers with a touchdown run from Alex Smith and then a touchdown pass from him to Michael Crabtree have a 27 halftime lead over the Rams. We'd like to take some time to honor one of the great leaders here at Fox Sports, Doug Sellers, who passed away this week. And the voice you're about to hear is from our chairman, David Hill. But in reality, it echoes the thoughts of everyone here at Fox who is grateful to have known such a wonderful man.
There are so many ways to describe a man like Doug Sellers. He was a brilliant television producer, an overwhelmingly proud Canadian, a true sports fan, and one of the kindest people you'll ever know. 11 years ago, Doug joined the Fox Sports family, overseeing live event production at Fox Sports Net. He was integral in the formation of the Fox Sports Media Group, and in the last year, Doug became an executive vice president. He brought a leadership style of teamwork, balance, and fluidity with his easygoing personality, self-deprecating sense of humor, and a firm hand. A leader known for direct approach and honesty, Doug was calm yet assertive. And while he had an illustrious career in sports television, Doug lived for his family. So perhaps the best way to describe Doug Sellers is to say he was a devoted husband and a loving father, because he lived and breathed for the ones he cherished, his family. Doug is survived by the 3 great loves of his life, his wife of 26 years, Barb, and his 2 proud children, Tyler and Kelsey. Doug Sellers, gone far too soon, respected and loved by so many. He will be missed by us all.
The NFL on Fox. Fox.
Getting ready to start the third quarter. Alex Smith of the 49ers are 30 minutes away from becoming the number 2 seed in the postseason. They've already locked up the NFC West. The Rams will get the football first when we start the second half. 49ers with a 20-7 lead. They trailed 7-0 at one time. Rams get the football to start the third quarter. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL. Jennifer Hale down on the field. Tim Bryant, Chris Myers. Again, we wish you a happy new year. The 49ers want to nail down that first round bye and play at home. What do they want to tune up and work on here in the second half?
I think they definitely want to fine-tune that run game. Was not very good in the first half. Give the Rams some credit. They did lose Bruce Miller, the fullback, already without Delaney Walker. So maybe those are playing a role. And then continued improvement, trying for improvement on third down. They have not been very good in converting their third downs today.
And the defense as ironclad as always.
Defense has been awesome again. Barely over 100 yards for the St. Louis Rams. They've got a takeaway. So the defense continuing to do their thing.
Jarius Norwood back to receive the kick in their meeting back on December 4th in San Francisco. Remember, the 49ers shut out the Rams. Rams getting a touchdown early, but then that's been it. And Norwood will bring this out. Here comes a flag. Norwood knocked down at the 45-yard line of St. Louis. Blake Costanzo, one of the top special teams players, as Steve Spagnuolo looks at a 49-yard return that no doubt will come back.
During the return, holding return team, half the distance to the goal, first down.
And it looks like 51, here he is, was the guy that got held. I believe that's Brian Keel, number 50, that held him. You saw right there as Costanzo tried to disengage and get off the block to get in the way of Jarius Norwood. The flag was thrown.
Jim Harbaugh, who in a landslide winner, likely to be the coach of the year. And then the other extreme, Steve Spagnuolo, likely to be his last game as head coach of the Rams. Jackson carries. It has room. Steven Jackson across the 35-yard line.
And this is what I think Patrick Willis meant about getting himself tuned up, because Patrick reads this play perfectly. Here comes Willis. Here's the block. And instead of playing through the blocker and seeing the running back, Patrick just plays the blocker. And you saw there, he just gave himself up and took a 1-for-1 on the blocker versus seeing through the blocker and going making a tackle on the running back, Steven Jackson.
A 27-yard run for Steven Jackson. And he gets the carry again. Let's check in down on the field with Jennifer Ham. Jennifer?
Well, Chris, I asked Coach Jim Harbaugh if there's a point in this game where he rests his starters and eliminates the risk of injury, and he says no way. His goal is to dominate this game. His message to his team at halftime, dominate the details. Meanwhile, Coach Spagnuolo, desperate to jumpstart his offense, he's going to emphasize throwing on first and second downs, no turnovers, and got to convert on those third downs. Chris?
Thanks, Jennifer. On second down, 4.
180.
Jackson tripped up right away. It'll be third down.
And that's the wham play number 2. You can expect 4 or 5 of them in this game, again, where they don't block the nose tackle and they end up blocking him with the fullback.
Are you a fan of the wham?
I'm not a big fan of the wham block. I was when the Redskins ran it in the 1980s and early 90s. I just think too many guys are onto it now. Nose guards right away, especially 3-4, when you're 3 down nose tackle and you're not a penetrating guy flying up the field. They're ready for that wham blocker. I'm not a big fan of that play anymore.
On third down, Cadillac Williams checks in. Quick pass is batted in the air and almost intercepted. Went through a couple of different hands, and Ricky Jean-Francois batted the ball.
When Cadillac Williams is the guy who makes this thing happen, that it's not an interception, because you had 2 49ers that were converging on it. Ricky's going to get the hand up perfect, and then Cadillac Williams, you're going to see 33 right there, gets right in between Navarro Bowman and Patrick Willis, and part of the reason why that wasn't intercepted.
In his third year, he's worked his way up from a 7th-round draft pick, an important role player for this 49er team, as Reggie Smith backs up on Jones' punt inside the 10 and goes to his knees, where the 49er offense will get its first crack in the second half after the defense does its job.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By KFC. Bring something different to the party with KFC sauceless hot wings. Now just 50 cents a wing. By Chevrolet and their award-winning cars, trucks, and crossovers. And by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels with Kellen Clemens. You said it's a typical 49er game, and it's a typical Ram game offensively. The struggles, the last 7 drives, not much. 49ers have the ball, 1st and 10 from their own 9. Kendall Hunter up to the 15 before Laurinaitis pushed him back. 7th carry for him. Frank Gore has 7 carries in the game as well.
Yeah, and how many times in the last several years have the 49ers gotten so much out of their backup running back? Kendall Hunter's well over 400 yards this year. I mean, when you think about Kevin Barlow as the guy and that came in and was a starter sometimes and certainly a backup at times, he ended up being a pretty good, you know, 1-2 punch, number 2 punch for the 49ers, but it's been a long time since they've had a backup running back with this kind of production.
Hunter tripped up this time, short of the 14. Chris Chamberlain there.
And the running game has not got on track, but it's not for a lack of trying. Watch the variety here. You got a strong power there to Frank Gore, pretty good run. Now an influence one way, toss it out the other. Here you're going to see a little counter power back to the strong side to Frank Gore. This one, you put all the big heavy guys in there, and Isaac Sapuaga and Adam Snyder and all of them, and block down and just turn and hand it. That's the kind of things that the Rams are dealing with in terms of the versatility of the 49er run game.
Third down, 5, 6 defensive backs. Nice catch by Crabtree.
He's going to get a good spot here. It looks like he's going to get it. Perfect ball location from Alex Smith. Perfect.
Rod Hood was right there with him. 6 cornerbacks on injured reserve for the Rams this year. They have 16 players total. One of them, Al Harris, who played well for a while, got hurt and retired. 49ers have been relatively healthy until these last few games. Where they lost Delaney Walker and Ted Ginn and Kyle Williams.
This is a passing league. We all know that. You lose your corners, you lose your wide receivers, you lose your offensive tackles. Going to get the first down. You lose your quarterback for 6 games. Hard to win games if you're Steve Spagnuolo. Conversely, Jim Harbaugh's team, as you just said, has been really healthy. All 5 of their offensive linemen have been together all year for the most part.
Sam Bradford looking on, frustrated. He was an Iron Man last year. That's Al Harris with him, who still helps out. Steve Spagnuolo said he was touched with the kind of work Al Harris did, not only on the field, but in the locker room as a leader and a teacher for young players. Kendall Hunter, first down. With the lead, with that defense, and Hunter and Gore running, look out.
And here's what I love about it. Here's the one-on-one matchup. They're going to end up running the edge here, but watch the seal block by Vernon Davis, who does a lot of dirty work. I mean, he's just going to handle Brady Papinga. He ends up blocking 3 guys. And Vernon Davis blocked 3 guys right there, and then Moran Norris leads up on a safety, and it's a big run.
Vernon Davis injured on the play, checking on him. Seems to be okay, heading to the sideline.
Vernon's done that all year, and he's been coming around in the passing game certainly over the last 4 or 5 weeks, but he has been killing it as a run blocker.
And they're clarifying issues with the play clock. Talk about the Pro Bowl tight ends. We know there were a lot of good ones this year. He certainly could have been one going to Hawaii.
Yeah, the emergence of Jimmy Graham.
Anthony
out of there a little bit.
Anthony Dixon is in at running back and gets the carry. That'll bring up a second down. In his second year from Mississippi State, a 6th-round draft pick.
Well, that tells me they're preserving Frank Gore. Despite what Coach Harbaugh told Jennifer Hale that we're going to go and we're not going to preserve guys. Frank's standing there over there on the sidelines. It looks like he's not going to be a big part of this running game going forward.
Only 7 carries, only 9 yards in this game for the 1,000-yard rusher, Frank Gore, and Pro Bowler.
How excited do you think he is to go to the playoffs finally?
Incomplete. Fred Robbins from the defensive tackle inside spot got his arms up.
What's interesting with the 49ers, as bad as they've been on 3rd down, and it hasn't been great today, it's been really pitiful all year when you look at it. They are a very good first down team. Look what they've done today on their average first down. I'll tell you what, you talk to a lot of coaches, and you know everybody wants to talk about 3rd down, but they are all convinced being big and being successful on first down goes a long way in winning games.
3rd and 8. And Alex Smith is going to go down. Darian Stewart came in from the safety spot and got the sack.
That pressure gets there so quick on Alex Smith. He can barely get to his back step before Darian Stewart is on him. And they bring pressure from both sides, because you're going to see Dahl come from this side. Stewart comes up the middle. And it looked to me like the left guard, Mike Upati, busted the protection. He needed to block down and be part of picking up Darian Stewart. He was looking for work, as you call it, Chris. He had nobody to block. Clearly an indicator of a busted protection.
Second sack of the game for the Rams, and Nick Miller takes Lee's punt. And finally goes down at the 27-yard line. Get a look at Brandon Lloyd, one of the key receivers for the Rams on offense. 49ers at defense as the Rams trail 20-7, and when it's pass rush time, you'll see the rookie from Missouri, Aldon Smith, at age 22. One sack away from Javon Kearse's rookie sack NFL record of 15. Kellen Clemens, and complete. This time Lance Kendricks hangs on near midfield.
Clemens pass complete to number 88, Lance Kendricks.
A 22-yard completion.
Yeah, and they got three tight ends on the field, and Kendricks right here is going to get right down the seam. Carlos Rogers is going to play from his cornerback position. So right there, Lance Kendrick reads, okay, the cornerback's playing me to the outside with outside leverage. He's got no help to the middle of the field. If he does have help, it's late with Deshaun Goldson coming over. I'm going to break this thing off on the skinny post inside. Well played.
Steven Jackson the carry. Over 70 yards rushing today.
I tell you, you were talking about Aldon Smith and the opportunity to break that rookie sack record. Needs a sack to do it to beat Javon Kearse. I'll tell you what's amazing about this guy. First of all, you shake his hand, he's like a piece of concrete. I mean, he is rock hard everywhere. But 22 years old, and his upside, Chris, he's played 5 years of football. This is his 5th year of organized football. Didn't start until his junior year of high school. Was a soccer player and a basketball player. 2 years of high school, 2 years of college, 1 year of NFL. Incredible.
It's always a good sign when you're a rookie and you have your own sign when you're on the road. Of course, he played his college ball at Missouri.
Tackled by Gene Francois.
And when you look at the all-time sack record of rookies in the NFL, I remember some people questioning when he was drafted as high as he was, oh, he's a project. He's paid off right away.
Trent Baalke knew it, and the general manager, and hit it perfectly. This guy was climbing the board like crazy before the draft, and absolutely worthy of being where he was picked.
On 3rd down and 5, Cadillac Williams and Steven Jackson in the backfield. Kellen Clemens still has the football. Throws and completes to Brandon Lloyd. His 3rd catch of the game. That's a guy you want to get involved if you're the Rams.
Yeah, and there's the bait right there, Steven Jackson, because Navarro Bowman pulls up on him, as does Carlos Rogers, the corner, which opens up that corner route for Brandon Lloyd in front of the safety. You ever notice how many times Brandon Lloyd goes to the ground after a catch? Either he's on the ground when he catches it, or he goes to the ground after he catches it.
A 23-yard gain, 3 tight ends for the Rams. Cadillac Williams the carry. Here comes a flag as the ex-Buccaneer is bounced backwards. The Saints are putting away the Panthers now 31-17 in the 3rd.
Holding, number 64 of the offense. 10-yard penalty, still 1st down.
And that call on ex-49er Tony Rocky, who the Rams had to move to center when they were rearranging that offensive line, either through disappointment or injury.
And Rocky doesn't like it. He was matched up on Isaac Sapuaga, the nose tackle there. I'm sure those guys in practice back in the day were going at it all the time.
Meanwhile, Patrick Willis with just 2 tackles today, trying to get into the flow of the game and get ready for the playoffs. And if the 49ers hang on, they get that 1st round bye. We'll be at home a week, actually 2 weeks from this weekend. Brandon Lloyd has it, but goes down in a hurry. It'll be 2nd down and long.
And I think part of Brandon Lloyd going to the ground is he's smart. I mean, he knows, even with the defenseless player rules, he knows these linebackers and safeties will absolutely rock you. A lot of times on those crossing routes, he's already in position to get to the ground. Remember how some of the great Rams used to do it? A lot of people don't like it, but Isaac Bruce, remember how many times he would catch the ball and dig a hole and go down? The guy played forever.
And Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt, a couple of the guys you see grew up in Missouri, fans of those receivers and the greatest show on turf. The Ram offense.
Same play they just ran.
And incomplete. Kendricks again, the intended receiver. Talk about the greatest show on turf. The high-scoring, high-flying Rams offense.
How about that high flyer right there, Brandon Lloyd? He's on the ground a lot catching balls, but he was in the air a lot as a high jump.
Yeah, Blue Springs High School in Missouri earned 4 letters in track, won first place in the 4A high jump back in '99 at the state track and field championships. And Tim, I remember he told us the visualization he learned about.
He's an acrobat.
He uses that in football.
He high jumped 7 foot 2 inches in high school.
Clemens to Jackson, who can't hold on. And there's Patrick Willis keeping the heat on the quarterback, forcing a 4th down.
There's also a good illustration of how 38 Deshaun Golson will smash you as he comes up on this, because Patrick's going to come right up the middle. There's the quick swing route, screen to Steven Jackson, and then Golson just knifes right through his outer thigh pad.
Josh Brown, who has had a disappointing year by his standards, will line up to kick a 49-yard field goal to try and get the Rams to within 10. His season long is 49. He got the bounce. The kick from the upright. And the Rams are within 10. That sounded good to me. The home team gets free.
Give it back.
Steven Jackson leaning over in pain. He's run for 76 yards today and has a catch for 15 yards.
Oh, he's hurt now, and we've been watching him down on the sidelines. It was that last hit from Deshaun Golson, and Steven's been walking around and pacing ever since. He's the best player on this football team. How long do you roll with him in a meaningless game?
Well, it's an NFC West battle, and as he said, I go out there regardless and hope everybody else does. If you're able to play, you play your heart out. As Kendall Hunter takes the kick and knocked out at the 17-yard line. Chris Chamberlain, who's been all over the place defensively with the special teams play. The Rams defensively on the spot. The 49ers have a 10-point lead.
Fox.
Back here in St. Louis, Steven Jackson headed to the locker room.
Well, it's because the head of Deshaun Golson went right through his upper left arm right there on the last series, and Steven was in agony down on the sidelines in pain.
The heart and soul of this Ram franchise for the last 7 years. On first down, it's incomplete. Intended for Justin Peel.
I'll tell you one thing that's gone good for the Rams here in the second half has been the pressure, and whether it's sending guys, and we saw Darian Stewart get the sack, getting hits on Alex Smith. That time it was just a 4-man rush. You sent 4 guys, they dropped 7 in coverage, and Gary Gibson hit Alex Smith square in the chest plate. Took him to the ground.
Kendall Hunter the back at 2nd and 10. Crabtree. Nowhere. It'll bring up a 3rd down, and Stewart and Gordon on the spot. The Saints are now up 38-17, blowing out Carolina. So the 49ers do need a win here to secure that number 2 seed, and they have a 10-point lead. Jennifer Hale telling us that they will take x-rays on the arm of Steven Jackson. If the Rams in a rally, they certainly would lean on him. That's complete. There's Crabtree slipping a tackle near the first down. Looks like he got it. There's a flag down as well.
And that ball had to come out quick because Alex Smith under pressure again. It was Chris Long coming around the edge that time.
Gain of 9, flag on the play.
Personal foul, grabbing the helmet opening. Number 23 of the defense. On it, 15 yards, automatic first down.
Jeff Triplett met number 27, Quentin Michael, on the infraction.
27 on the number.
And here you see Crabtree coming on the crossing route. And just reaches out and just grabs him right by the ear hole and almost rips the helmet off of Michael Crabtree.
Now Anthony Dixon checks in and running back. Some hitting going on. He got a lot of hits for about a 4-yard gain.
I'll tell you what, Quentin Michael made his mind up that he was going to give every bit of what he's got in that body to bring down Anthony Dixon, and then just got ejected and bounced off of him. Listen to this. Here's Michael right here. Going to meet about right here in the hole.
He got 4. Vernon Davis. First down inside the 16 of St. Louis.
Well, and here's what the 49ers did. Enough of our quarterback getting hit. We're going to keep 7 in protection. The 5 offensive linemen and the 2 backs. Vernon's out here. Watch him just get down the middle of the field. Vernon Davis run right behind Chamberlain and in front of the safety. And there's a good example of what Alex Smith really has done all year with the decision making and the ball placement.
And limited with receivers. No Kyle Williams, Ted Ginn, or even Delaney Walker. So that's 7 catches for Vernon Davis. That one good for 35 yards. He had a 44-yard catch in the first half that set up a field goal. Kendall Hunter cuts back. And a nice tackle made by Ron Hood from his corner spot.
Just another variation of the run game. Everybody blocking right except the quarterback, who was supposed to be the lead blocker for Kendall Hunter on the old influence play. Watch, everybody's going to go this way. He's going to give it to Kendall. Kendall start and then come back, and Alex is the lead blocker. There's his guy he's supposed to get.
Loss of 1.
Plays the quarterback.
Second down. That's Vernon Davis again, and the Rams knock him down at the 15. Craig Dahl over there. It'll be third down.
Here's what I like what they're doing is they're building their passing game right now and using this opportunity to work on their passing game. They've had 4 comeback wins. We understand that on the road this year that have been big and with the arm of Alex Smith. But when you start really thinking big picture, Frank Gore looks like he may not be back in this game. But you think big picture in the playoffs and the teams, the Packers, the Saints, these teams that score so many points, I think this is a good opportunity, and I think this is exactly what Jim Harbaugh is doing, is building up this passing game.
And you don't think they'll have Delaney Walker in the first playoff game?
I don't. There's that jaw wire shut.
On third down for Swain. It'll be fourth down. 49ers about to close out their 21st straight quarter without committing a turnover.
And what I was just talking about, Chris, the numbers bear it out. This team averages 27 pass attempts per game. They're already at 28 right now when you start adding all the throws on that last drive.
Alex Smith has not had a 300-yard passing game this year. That's unheard of in today's NFL. It's a fake! And wide open for a 49er touchdown is Michael Crabtree. And what a throw by David Akers.
Brad Seeley once again. Crabtree split out. And watch this. Watch Akers. Here's the snap. Direct snap. He's just going to turn and throw it. There's nobody out there with Michael Crabtree. That's like the sleeper play. Shame on the St. Louis Rams for not covering up Michael Crabtree out on the edge.
And we have a challenge flag, or at least Steve Spagnuolo is considering.
And you see Brad Seeley.
The previous play.
And because it's a touchdown, All plays, of course, reviewed.
You see Brad Seeley yelling, "We got to go." He wanted that thing to hurry up. It'll be interesting to see how they see this with Michael Crabtree standing over on the sideline by himself.
You want trickery? You got trickery.
Fox.
There is no challenge. It's an official review of the touchdown on the fake field goal. Jeff Triplett on the field.
It was a clear touchdown. What were they reviewing?
We're about to find out. All scoring plays are reviewed. There's Brad Seeley.
But if it's a clear-cut touchdown, what are you reviewing?
Well, they want to make sure.
After review, the offense had 11 on the field. Number 15, who was split out to the wide near the sideline, played the down before. Therefore, he does not have to come back inside the numbers. It is a legal play. We confirm a touchdown.
A very clear description, and that's why you review and make sure it's okay, Brad. It counts. Now, a player, you can't camouflage yourself over on the sideline.
In front of the sideline, absolutely. But where he was on the field, and as I said during the replay, shame on the Rams for not seeing him out there.
You could see it on the replay that he clearly lined up.
Interesting that they went with the review, though, because I guess Jeff Triplett wanted to go back and, well, it's not automatic. It's a clear-cut touchdown.
No, every scoring play, every touchdown.
I know, but it should have been confirmed right away.
Well, that's different than not reviewing.
That's why I'm asking why they reviewed it. There's Crabtree out there all by himself, and there's nobody covering him up.
Yeah, we'll bring in Mike.
I'd love to talk to Mike.
Yeah, Mike. They wanted to make sure that he was in on the previous play, correct? As Jeff Triplett explained.
I see that.
Nah, that wouldn't have been it. The only thing that they wanted to make sure was that they didn't have 12 people on the field. That you weren't looking at Crabtree being the 12th player. Interesting thing here, the common denominator. You're looking at Brad Seeley, who is now the 49ers special teams coach with New England. He did this against St. Louis years ago with Troy Brown. Same thing. It's not a hideout play because you can do this. You can't line up a player within 5 yards of your own sideline if you're in front of your team area, which is the 32 to 32. But since they did this down near the goal line and Crabtree was in the previous play, it's a legal play. And it's not the first time that Brad Seeley has pulled it off.
How often do you see something like this, Mike?
About once every 3 years when Brad Seeley decides to do it.
Hey, Mike, just clean it up in terms of the review and the confirm on all scoring plays, if you would.
Yeah, just remember, anytime you rule a score on the field, whether it's a touchdown, a successful extra point, a safety, anything that is a scoring play, you can look at it. The replay assistant will look to confirm it, every aspect of it, and that includes whether a team has more than 11 people on the field at the time of the snap. So that's, I'm sure, and as Jeff said, that's the one thing that they were looking at.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Happy New Year for all your great work on the rules this year. And again, we'll see you in the playoffs as Charius Norwood takes the return. And the bottom line is the 49ers go for the knockout punch with a touchdown on a fake field goal.
Wasn't a sneak play, but they snuck one by him, didn't they?
Well, and you heard Mike Pereira say, hey, you see it once every 3 years at Brad Seeley, the common denominator, but the Rams should have at least noticed Crabtree. Friday, it's the Cotton Bowl as Kansas State faces Arkansas. It's a Big 12 SEC showdown. You'll see it live in primetime from Cowboys Stadium on Fox, 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. It's BCS worthy and a good clash of some good teams. And here Cadillac Williams carries. You know, people thought the Rams might be the team trying the trick plays. They tried one with Norwood throwing a pass that really shifted the momentum. And
that was a bad time to call that play, and it was bad execution, and it was an easy identifier and then interception for the 49ers defense.
And here the 49ers call it at the right time and now have a 27-10 lead. You see the Saints polishing off Carolina. Matt, you still can't figure out how the Saints lost here in St. Louis earlier in the year, but it happened. Clemens complete right at the 40 is Kendricks, and that'll wind up the third quarter. A creative quarter for the 49ers, who were 15 minutes away from nailing down the number 2 seed in the postseason. Tim Wright, Chris Myers, Jennifer Hale on the field, and a Happy New Year to all those of you watching the NFL on Fox. And for the 49ers and Vernon Davis, 8 catches, 118 yards. His second 100-yard game of the season. And Michael Crabtree with a couple of touchdowns today. And the 49ers, who've already won the NFC West, are moving in on that bye week and then the home playoff game.
And Crabtree's not far off from 100 yards right now.
Clemens throws back to Denario Alexander, who gets a first down and goes out of bounds. And let's check in with Jennifer down on the field. Jennifer?
Well, Chris, Steven Jackson has now returned to the Rams sidelines with a brace on that left arm. The x-rays are negative. Officially, his return to the game is still questionable, but he's been stretching out and jogging down here with his helmet in hand. Chris?
All right, thanks, Jennifer. He fueled the upset of the Saints on this very field. One of the 2 wins that the Rams have this season. After a gain of 13, Cadillac Williams with a play at 1st and 10. And Williams carries inside the 40 of San Francisco. Patrick Willis playing the entire game and on the stop. And this series, since 1950, Rams 49ers, 124 previous meetings. It's him dead even, 61-61 and 2 times.
It's been a great rivalry, and especially back in the day when the Rams were in Southern California and those battles in the Golden State.
You grew up watching the 49ers since 1980. No team with more Super Bowl wins, division titles, playoff appearances than these 49ers. Cadillac Williams stopped right away. Let's check in for a game break with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Well, Michael Strahan's single-season sack record could be in trouble. Jared Allen gets Josh McCown. He's got 3.5 sacks, does Allen, in this game. 22 on the season. They're just starting the 4th quarter. He's 1/2 sack away from Strahan's mark. Chris and Tim?
Thanks, Kurt.
And with a 3-point lead, he's going to be rushing the passer in the 4th quarter.
We may have a sack record here if Aldon Smith, the rookie from Missouri, can get 1 today. He's got 14. It would be at the rookie mark. After a loss of 2, Clemens pass complete. And Denario Alexander inside the 30. Rams on the move here in the 4th quarter.
That was perfect from the left tackle. I mean, I was watching Aldon Smith the whole way there, and LaVore just chopped him down, and it serves 2 purposes, because here's the tackle. There's Aldon. He's going to chop him down, and when he does knock him off his feet and chop him, it opens the window for the in route from Clemens. You see, you get him off his feet, and then it opens up that window for the quarterback to throw it underneath.
What's up?
From the 30-yard line, the pressure, he just got rid of it. And Clemens was knocked down by Paris Harrelson, incomplete.
Well, as good as LaVore was on the play against Aldon, he was not very good that time against Paris Harrelson, who was on Kellen Clemens quicker than a hiccup.
And at this point, the 49ers, who came in giving up an average of 13.5 a game, will lower that if they can keep the Rams from adding any points.
That's where the Rams have really struggled down in here near the red zone, just with the lack of real playmakers in the passing game.
Incomplete. Quinn Porter, the receiver.
Yeah, that's got to be caught. And that would end up still being short for the first down. But I think Porter was worried about 52. Patrick Willis right here bearing down on him.
So now it's 3rd and 10.
I mean, he didn't look like Porter ever saw that ball until it was too late.
Incomplete. Brandon Lloyd was in the area.
Yeah, and you saw the referee over there saying that's an uncatchable ball with the wave of the hand over the head with the side judge over there, because Brandon Lloyd jumped up right away and he wanted some pass interference or illegal contact called on Terrell Brown,
who had an interception in the first half on the Norwood trick play. So now Josh Brown will line up for his second field goal try. This will be a 48-yard attempt. Good earlier from 49. No fake this time. And the kick is good. The 49er fake produced a touchdown. The 49ers with a 27-13 lead.
Today's game is sponsored by the BK Toppers Burgers. More beef, more value. Only $1.99 now at Burger King. By Windows 7, it's a great time to be a family. And by Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close. Now playing in select theaters everywhere January 20th.
Here in St. Louis, Rams kicking off after a field goal by Josh Brown. And the 49ers closing in as Kendall Hunter is back to return. Hunter hit hard, knocked out of bounds at the 15-yard line. Is this the final 12-minute and 15-second stretch for Steve Spagnuolo as the Rams head coach? Steven Jackson physically beat up, anxious to try and get back in a game. That
he looks done. You see the look on his face. They took the pad off and put that hose on. It always makes me think he may be done for the afternoon.
As Kendall Hunter, carries. 49ers with a 27-13 lead at the 12-minute mark. You can get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL Now. Kendall Hunter with 10 carries and 50 yards rushing. Last week he carried 12, his season high. They rushed for 73 against the Seahawks. Second down 3 here as the 49ers are in cruise control, kill the clock, protect the lead mode. Let's get a week off before we host a playoff game.
Now they got big Alex Boone in there as the extra tackle. Joe Staley's over on the other side.
As Hunter gets the first down. He's only 5'7", but the rookie from Oklahoma State fighting hard.
He's not small, he's just short. I mean, he is loaded with power and explosion in that lower body, and you run for over 4,000 yards at Oklahoma State, you've done something. Again, another, in my mind, fabulous pick, and getting in some depth in here for Frank Gore by Trent Baalke.
49ers all-time leading rusher. You got Steven Jackson, the Rams all-time leading rusher. These two have clashed head-to-head in the NFC West division rivalry over the years. And finally, Frank Gore enjoying the playoffs with Alex Smith.
Finally a winning season. Remember we were talking about Steven Jackson earlier, top 50 running back in the league, never had a winning season.
Hunter carries again, stopped just short of the 30-yard line. And the Rams, who Sam Bradford was an Iron Man his rookie year, outstanding as they were on the doorstep of the playoffs in Steve Spagnuolo's second year. That followed a 1-win season. And now a 2-win season and an injury-plagued year for that man.
Look, and in my mind, Sam Bradford's not going anywhere, whether Steve Spagnuolo's here or not, and he probably won't be at the end of the day when you take everything into consideration. But I love all the talk that do you trade Bradford and draft a quarterback at number 2. No chance in my mind. You continue to build around Sam Bradford no matter who's here.
Alex Smith being careful. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee. Kurt?
Well, Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis helps the Patriots extend their lead against Buffalo. Buffalo led 21-0 at one point. It's now 35-21. Patriots with 35 unanswered. A victory by them, and they clinch the #1 seed. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. And Tim, you were talking a moment ago in the possible #1 pick. The Colts are losing, so they're likely to secure that, but the Rams will have the second pick.
Well, and there'll still be a lot of value to that second pick as well, with the emergence here of Robert Griffin, the quarterback coming out of Baylor.
On 3rd down and 9, Anthony Dixon in for the 49ers. Smith throws underneath to Dixon. And the Rams stop him. That's Josh Gordy running him out of bounds, so it'll be a 4th down punt for the 49ers. Alex Smith with a touchdown run, and then he had a touchdown throw to Michael Crabtree. And then David Akers had a fake field goal with a touchdown toss to Crabtree. And Akers field goals, and that's how the 49ers got their points. And some excellent punting work by Andy Lee, the Pro Bowler, to keep the Rams backed up as Nick Miller stands inside his 15-yard line. Fourth punt of the game now for Lee. There's a flag down, and Miller let it bounce and then grabbed it. There is a flag also back at the 30 where they snap the ball. Flags at both ends of the field, and a lot to sort out.
Maybe Andy Lee will get another shot at kicking another great one. More practice. Man, he is good.
He'll have a week off.
He's incredibly good.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, number 24 of the kicking team. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Number 37 of the receiving team. Went out of bounds and did not come back in immediately.
James Butler and Anthony Dixon.
Wait a minute. The receiving team is. There we go.
Number 27 went out of bounds and blocked a member of the receiving team out of bounds. Those penalties will offset and will repeat fourth down.
Says on C.J. Spillman as it relates. So we'll sort it out, and Andy Lee will get to kick it again. Today he's got a 66-yarder, a 61-yarder, and a 50-yarder. He'll have to back up a little bit here, standing at his own 20-yard line.
And he is just a huge part of what this football team is, Chris, period. I mean, he does such a great job week in and week out of pinning the opponent back inside their own 20-yard line, and you're not going to have big, long drives against that defense. It just has not been something that opponents have been able to do to the 49ers most of the season.
Lets it go, but that's even better than before.
Are you kidding me?
The Rams will start out in a hole. They trail by 2 touchdowns.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150, the only truck available with EcoBoost.
Andy Lee with his third punt of 60-plus yards, and what was amazing about this one, 64 yards, he lands it right at the 1-yard line of the Rams.
Yeah, and look at the play there by Tremaine Brock, keeping it in, and it's just, you can't talk enough about what a weapon Andy Lee is for this football team.
That's why he's going to his third Pro Bowl. David Akers going as well.
And they don't give up long drives defensively. As I said, you don't get any longer drive necessity than this right here for St. Louis.
Clemens intercepted. Terrell Brown, his second of the day.
Well, 31, Dante Whitner's going to blitz here. It's zone coverage behind it, but watch Clemens as he drops back, and he hitches this ball 3 times. You're in zone coverage. Terrell Brown's just going to read it, and he just undercuts the route. He just read the eyes of the quarterback, and you saw one good solid pump to the right by Kellen Clemens. Watch Terrell Brown here, playing zone, got his hips to the sidelines, has his eyes on the quarterback right now. And as Kellen Clemens tried to come all the way back, opposite of where he was looking, that was an easy read for Terrell Brown for the interception, number 4 on the year.
Yeah, the corner on the other side is going to the Pro Bowl, Carlos Rogers.
This is just vintage 49ers classic style here today.
And Kendall Hunter rushing the football. That's 38 takeaways from a team that has only turned it over 10 times.
Yeah, and again, I mean, great special teams, outstanding defense, 2 takeaways, and ball security offensively. It's what they've done all year, and I'm telling you, this formula can carry them all the way to another Lombardi trophy.
Plus 28 on the differential, and it's amazing as Terrell Brown has the first 2-interception game of his career with receivers down and Delaney Walker out, Frank Gore not playing. They're dominating the football game. This is Kendall Hunter. And an excellent tackle there, and that is the most carries he's had in an NFL game at 15.
And Chris, and everybody's asking the question of Jim Harbaugh's football team, how far can this style carry the San Francisco 49ers in the postseason? When you think of this passing league and all the offensive explosion with the Saints, who are cranking it up well over 40 points again today, the Green Bay Packers, who score 34 points a game, how possibly can the 49ers compete with teams like that when you're playing for everything and trying to get to the Super Bowl? I promise you, this team does not beat themselves. Their defense is so good. They're the best in the league. They don't turn it over. They can beat anybody.
Kendall Hunter carries, and Kendall Hunter gets near the goal line. It's going to be first and goal 49ers. And with the dominant defense, we mentioned it at the top, but it's not a reach. The 85 Bears, the 2000 Ravens, those defenses were so good. I know it was a different era, a different time, but those teams won the Super Bowl because they did enough around their defense.
Right, and no question. And they ran the ball. I mean, think of the Bears in those years. I mean, they were able to run the football. And this was another I haven't seen them run this play all day. A weak counter with the offensive guard, Adam Snyder, leading the way, and Vernon Davis right behind him.
Anthony Dixon on first and goal from the 1. This is Dixon. And that's a touchdown, 49ers. Anthony Dixon.
Well, here's the guy that does it. Now, Anthony Dixon's going to squeeze his way in there, but watch what Vernon Davis does to James Hall, the tight end, and staying engaged on it. That's a tight end blocking a defensive end and really gets the kick-out block. Had a little bit of help, but initially had the big-time block to help spring Anthony Dixon.
And they reviewed and confirmed
the previous play,
as they always do. Have not confirmed officially yet. You know, his running back coach in college at Mississippi State, Sylvester Croom, who's on the other sideline. He's the running back coach for the Rams. Proud of his pupil, Anthony Dixon. After review, Jeff Triplett on the scoring play.
after review, the runner's rear end is down at the half-yard line with the ball outside the plane of the goal line. It'll be second and goal at the half-yard line.
So hold the phone, no touchdown yet.
Well, and Jim Harbaugh knew it this whole way here. He's been over there already having Alex ready to go for the next play. But Jeff Triplett sees it absolutely right. And you'll see Anthony Dixon down there, the rear end, the ball there, clearly not across the plane of the goal line.
So second down goal from the 1.
But that's, again, the intelligence of Jim Harbaugh. He's standing over on the sidelines, realizing it's not a touchdown and has Alex ready to go.
See if Anthony Dixon gets another try here. He gets the ball, and he gets the touchdown. His 4th career rushing touchdown. And Terrell Brown set it up.
And Andy Lee set up the defense with the punt. Just going to run here to the strong side. Got the tight end and the extra offensive tackle Boone stacked over there. Hard to stop that big load, Anthony Dixon, behind those big offensive linemen when he gets moving forward and needs a half a yard.
And David Akers adds to his points total. And the 49ers 6 minutes 30 seconds away from that number 2 seed. And for the Rams, just 2 wins this year. Steve Spagnuolo, their head coach, 10 wins, completing his 3rd year. Sources indicating we haven't had anything official, but you think Steve Spagnuolo will be let go?
I do, and I don't agree with it because I believe in continuity in this league, and everybody knows Steve Spagnuolo is a friend of mine, but I think tomorrow will be Black Monday, and it's a bottom line business. You got 10 wins in 3 years. Now, I can lay out a million reasons why they've only won 2 games this year, and I'll start with the injuries. I'll start with unrealistic expectations coming into the season. I mean, to me, and Steve Spagnuolo will never use those as excuses. He's a great person. He's got a great wife. They're going to be fine whatever happens. I don't agree with just blowing this whole thing up, but I think the whole thing probably will get blown up from Billy Devaney all the way down. Jeff Fisher probably going to end up being the next head coach here with the St. Louis Rams. And that guy right there, Sam Bradford, if it were me making a decision, would stick and be the quarterback of the future here in St. Louis.
1 year remaining on the contract of Steve Spagnuolo. Owner Stan Kroenke, who was the minority owner, part of the process when Spagnuolo was hired, is now the man in charge, with Kevin Demoff right underneath him, the CEO, and his connection with Marv Demoff, his father, who is a famous agent/attorney and works with Jeff Fisher, may have something to do with Jeff Fisher becoming the next Ram head coach. Jarius Norwood will bring it out. And across the 30-yard line. And the Ram offense will try and do something in the last 6:24.
And I think finishing up on Steve Spagnuolo, and I talked to him on Friday, and they have no indicators at all from the owner, Stan Kroenke. He's been silent, so he hasn't called and told Steve or Billy Devaney, the general manager, or anything. But what Steve Spagnuolo did tell me, Chris, is he believes, he's convicted in his heart and convinced that he has built this thing the right way. And whether it's him or whether it's someone else who comes in to help lead these guys to get a Super Bowl ring, he's convinced that they've built this thing the right way.
Pass complete to Brandon Lloyd. And he'll have no problem. And here comes a flag. An overly aggressive Chris Tolliver after the catch was made, number 29.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 29 of the defense. 15-yard penalty added at the end of the play, first down.
And just to finish up on that story with Coach Spagnuolo, he said, look, make no mistake about it. Here's Culliver as he's just going to give the suplex body slam right there. He said, Steve Spagnuolo said, look, make no mistake about it. I want to be that guy. I want to lead this team forward. I believe in what we've built here, and I want to be that guy. But it's a bottom line business.
And I think
10 wins in 3 years speak for themselves. He'll have no problem getting work. I can guarantee you that.
Former defensive coach with the Giants, won a Super Bowl as their coordinator in Philadelphia. There are a lot of teams that would put him on their staff in a heartbeat. Pass is complete at the 35-yard line. Again, this Denario Alexander. And Spagnuolo, I appreciated the fact, too, that he talked about whether he's here or not, even though he wants to be, that you said they built it the right way and that success is coming for whoever takes the reins.
They don't have one cornerback, and he has a lot out of his cornerbacks in this system. One guy that was here in training camp. You lose your corners, you lose your offensive tackles, your quarterback, your wide receivers. Come on.
Cadillac Williams carries. Meanwhile, you talk about expectations. I don't know anybody with the 49ers who won 6 games last year, and a lot of this is some of the same personnel. Alex Smith, Frank Gore, Patrick Willis. Yes, they added free agents and they drafted wisely. But I don't know anybody that picked to win 13 games.
Nobody. And that's why Jim Harbaugh, in my opinion, should and will be the NFL Coach of the Year. I mean, he has really leaned on an outstanding coaching staff. It's amazing.
Deep. And incomplete. Alexander, the receiver, but Terrell Brown back there covering. Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, you think about it, and you said it. Who picked him? I mean, you try to jam 4 or 5 weeks or 4 or 5 months of the offseason into 4 or 5 weeks of training camp. Alex Smith was a huge story coming into the season, what he was going to be able to do. Jim Harbaugh knew right away, Alex is going to be my guy. He's going to be the starting quarterback for this football team, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see Alex get himself a contract extension real soon here.
With a win today, Harbaugh becoming the 4th rookie head coach in NFL history to win 13 games or more. Clemens throw. Touchdown Rams, Brandon Lloyd. A 36-yard toss, a little too late.
Well, I love the movement by Clemens right in the face of the blitz. Dante Whitner's trying to play the ball the whole way here, and it looked like he just mistimed his jump. Wanted an interception and jumped too early before the ball had come down. Big, deep over route by Brandon Lloyd. Whitner's definitely got his eye on the football and mistimed his jump. That was a good throw.
Rams with the extra point. There's a flag down, a 2-touchdown difference as Brandon Lloyd inches the Rams a little bit closer, and Kellen Clemens, who ran for one earlier, completes the throw.
Chris, at a minimum, Kellen Clemens, to me, has bought himself an opportunity to play somewhere next year in the pro game. You talked about his perspective, completely different. He told us how much he just wanted to come have fun, be prepared, and not let the pressure get to him. He's earned himself an opportunity to be in the pro game in 2012, no question.
Hey, Jim.
The flag is at the 5-yard line.
After the play is over, unnecessary roughness, personal foul, number 38 of the defense. That 15-yard penalty would be added to the kickoff.
The call against Deshaun Golson. Brandon Lloyd reaches the end zone for the Rams.
Fox.
The Saints have won today. The 49ers wrapping up the 2 seed. Tim Ryan, you can't forecast, but San Francisco gets the bye. Who are they likely to see their first playoff opponent?
Well, Detroit's winning right now, so Detroit would end up going down here as the 5 seed to the NFC East champion. Atlanta, as the 6 seed, will end up going to New Orleans. Now, that's based on Detroit winning. If Detroit loses and Atlanta wins, that'll be flipped. But either way, this team's going to win in the first round of the playoffs, and they'll end up being the team playing in San Francisco in the first game of the divisional round.
That would be a classic match of outstanding defense and outstanding offense. Saints and 49ers at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. The hands team is out. The onside kick, and the Rams had it, lost it, and it's loose.
And I think they got it back again on the ricochet.
At the 35.
They did.
First down Rams.
Brian Keel.
Darian Stewart helped knock it out.
You couldn't kick it any better if you're Josh here. I mean, that is a perfect kick as it comes down, and it was that Darian Stewart that had it initially, went out of his hands, and then Brian Keel was able to get it on the rebound.
That is classic outside kick.
That's perfect. I mean, look at this thing sky up, which gives the coverage unit an opportunity to get underneath it before it gets down near the ground. You couldn't do it any better.
Rams recover with 3 timeouts. They trail by 2 touchdowns from the 36 of San Francisco. Jim Harbaugh thinking these 4 minutes and 48 seconds can't go fast enough. We've had some clock issues, and we apologize for that. The officials trying to stay on top of it, so they've reset it now at 4:45 to go. 49er defense with 2 interceptions, but they gave him a touchdown pass to Lloyd moments ago.
And there's the playmaker right there at the top of the screen.
Clemens is looking that way. Short and incomplete. Here comes a flag. It's on Terrell Brown. If it's a defensive call.
It is defensive. The side judge is out there waving him down. Come on down the field. It almost looked like Brandon Lloyd did a push-off as he's coming back to it. Terrell Brown is not, he turned to locate the ball right there. As Brandon Lloyd pushed off, it looked like T. Brown had his hands on him as Brandon Lloyd pushes him by. Ooh, wow.
Shouldn't that have been one of those let him go
That,
plays?
to me, both of them looking at the ball looked a lot like incidental contact. This ball down on the 1-yard line.
So first and goal from the 1. We apologize, the microphone problem from our referee Jeff Triplett. We'll relay whatever information we have here, but that was the call.
They were both looking at the ball and jostling, and it was as much contact from Lloyd as there was from Terrell Brown.
Cadillac Williams, touchdown Rams. Brandon Lloyd, the pass interference penalty of 35 yards, set this up.
And Navarro Bowman, he gets in the backfield. Everything's perfect, and he just tackles there. Watch 53 on 33. And that's perfect by Navarro Bowman, and he just doesn't wrap up Cadillac Williams, who punches it in for the touchdown.
Cadillac Williams stepping in for Steven Jackson, who ran for 74 yards before leaving with an injury. And the Saints, who wrapped it up against Carolina 45-17, no doubt are watching this saying, we did our part. If the Rams can somehow
here's the question for you. If they get the extra point here and go down to one score, do they kick another onside kick or kick it away and trust their defense?
You're the analyst. I was going to ask you that.
No, you've gotten one. I think you kick it away.
It was so
Three
good.
timeouts left, 4:36. Kick it away.
3 timeouts remaining for each team. And coming up after this, the Bucs and Falcons. Some will see the Seahawks and Cardinals. Kirk Menefee and the guys back at the studio will keep you updated on all the other games affecting the playoff picture. And at the end of the day, we will wrap things up. Giants and Cowboys decide the NFC East tonight, with the Saints sitting at the 3 seed. And if the 49ers should somehow stumble here, things change dramatically. That first round bye, oh so important.
No, all the pressure's on San Francisco right now. There's no doubt. There's Brad Seeley letting his return unit know, all right, guys, this is it. I mean, we have got to secure this football and give it back, get it for our offense, not give them another opportunity.
And the story of this game, Kellen Clemens for the Rams, he scampered in for a touchdown early, and then the 49ers with an Alex Smith run and a touchdown throw to Crabtree. And then a fake field goal, Akers to Crabtree. 49ers built a sizable lead, but a comeback led by Clemens after he suffered his second interception.
And the 49ers have their hands unit up there, and they got one guy back. I would really anticipate Josh Brown kicking this one away and playing the timeouts in the clock game.
If the Rams and Spagnuolo were going to go down, they're going to go down swinging. '49ers have come out to the 20-yard line. On this very field a couple of months ago, the Saints came in after a 62-point performance against the Colts and were upset by the Rams. Now Alex Smith is trying to get his team.
Yeah, they need a good long drive here, and they haven't had a lot of them this year, and they have been choppy, to say the least, offensively all season long. They've got to be able to run the ball here, and I promise you Alex is going to have to make a couple of completions and chew this clock.
Alex Smith keeps. That's the fullback, Bruce Miller. And Darian Stewart knocks him down. Miller, who left injured earlier, back in the game. We have not seen Frank Gore since the first half.
Well, there's one guy that has really played good. And I know missed tackles have been a problem for St. Louis all year, and Darian Stewart's had a couple today, but this guy has emerged as one of the better players on this defense this year.
Well, remember, Jim Harbaugh said he's the crab who saved Christmas, Michael Crabtree, on Christmas Eve against Seattle with a big play. Will they go to him here? No, it's Anthony Dixon. It'll be third down, and the Rams are going to use a timeout.
And I want you to tell me that players have quit on Steve Spagnuolo here in the last game of the season with 2 victories all year. I'll tell you, you're crazy.
Well, if you're the
Go ahead, try it.
If you're the 49ers, how aggressive are you here on 3rd and 8?
Well, like I said, Alex is going to have to make a completion. I don't think you want to be so close to the vest now that you run one of your power plays and they get another timeout, and then they end up with more than 3.5 minutes to get a punt return and play offense.
Without Kyle Williams and Delaney Walker and Ted Ginn, Vernon Davis 8 catches today. Crabtree with 9 catches and a couple of touchdowns. 49ers are 5 for 13 on 3rd down. This may be the biggest so far.
The matchup is Vernon Davis on Craig Dahl.
Smith goes down. And James Hall with the sack.
Look at the tight coverage out on the edge here with Rod Hood. You got 2 over 1 on Crabtree. No chance is Alex going to throw down there. There's the matchup I talked about. You got 1 in front of Vernon, 1 behind him. The guy they leave open there was Brett Swain. Chris Long forces the initial pressure, and then James Hall finishes them off.
And Tim, the 49ers are going to be forced to punt. The Rams use a timeout. They have 1 remaining.
That was perfect defense. You double the 2 best guys in Vernon Davis, 1 in front of him, 1 behind him. You send 2 over 1 to Crabtree. You challenge and dare Alex Smith to throw it up to Brett Swain, one-on-one coverage down on the sidelines. Alex was not going to do it. He ends up taking the sack.
So Andy Lee, this is fitting the way you described 49er football. He's had 3 punts over 60. The Pro Bowler and the 49er defense, it'll be up to them to preserve this win. Nick Miller back to return for the Rams. And Miller at the 45. Cut down at the 47 of St. Louis. 3:37 in the 4th quarter remaining after a 43-yard punt. And 1 timeout for Kellen Clemens.
You got to love NFL football. You've got to love NFL football. Look at this. Against what many think, and I think, are the best defense in the pro game.
Record-setting numbers coming into this game for the 49er defense. They were only allowing 13.5 points a game.
And they've done it all without that guy here in the second half for most of it, Steven Jackson. That's where Alvin Smith and the D-line need to do it for you.
Clemens on the move. Knocked away incomplete. That was for Brandon Lloyd, but the coverage by Tremaine Brock, backup corner. Patrick Willis back in this game. If you tuned in late, first game since December 4th when he was hurt. His hamstring injury in the 1st quarter against the Rams.
Yeah, and he's been pretty much nondescript today. Had 1 good pressure up the middle. You love the fact there, though, that Vic Fangio, he's not going to sit back and play prevent defense. That time he sent the house in terms of the pressure.
Rookie Alden Smith without a sack today. 14 on the year. Clemens throw. Lloyd had it. Terrell Brown had his back to the football. But the coverage was there.
They're worried about Brandon Lloyd because Terrell Brown never turns to find the ball here. He is so worried about Brandon Lloyd. Look, Brandon Lloyd had that and it just bounced off his hands and out of bounds.
Lloyd with 6 catches today for 100 yards and a touchdown. And a big pass interference penalty.
And you better lean that safety that way to help Terrell Brown. And that to me is obvious that they've got to get 2 over 1 up there on Brandon Lloyd.
3rd and 10. Pressure coming. Clemens gets loose. Completes to Brandon Gibson. First down Rams.
Clemens said he wanted to have fun. He is having a blast. Look at how jacked up and fired up this guy is. I can't tell you how good this is, Chris, escaping this traffic and moving around, keeping his eyes down the field and then back across the middle of the field in a strike to Gibson.
1 timeout and a 2-minute warning for the Rams. Incomplete. Gibson, the receiver, he was throwing towards.
Gibson's going to flash from here, and you're going to see this ball comes out quick.
Clemens 14 out of 31, 226 yards with a touchdown and an interception.
See if they try to get Lance Kendricks down the seam, who is just lined up in man coverage on Patrick Willis.
Clemens goes down. Navarro Bowman, and with the sack, there's a flag down as well.
Clemens is hurt. Clemens is grabbing his right ankle.
Sam Bradford and A.J. Feely are inactive.
Oh, what a shame.
holding. Number 34, the offense. That penalty's declined. Third down.
The call was on Jarius Norwood in the backfield, holding. But the injury to Kellen Clemens on the sack by Bowman is big.
Bowman coming on the blitz right there, and yeah, Norwood holds him. Oh yeah, you could see his right ankle got trapped under him as Bowman was ripping him down to the ground. Oh, what a shame.
Tom Brandstatter, who was with the Broncos, second-year player from Fresno State, a free agent added to the Rams. The other quarterback active for St. Louis. Josh McDaniels had him in Denver. Limited.
Well, clearly they didn't think he was ready by bringing in Kellen Clemens from the Houston Texans. This guy's been here for most of the year. Didn't think Brandstatter was ready to handle the job, and now he's got to come in, really one of their biggest moments of the year, and see if he can finish this thing and get it done. Give Vic Fangio some credit for not sitting back. I mean,
defensive coordinator of the Niners.
Absolutely, playing man coverage and sending pressure.
And a good round of applause and respect on both sidelines from Kellen Clemens. Released by Houston, picked up within the last month by the Rams, his third start.
In 2 of the 3 games, he has been darn good when you look at his stat line.
Third down from the 40-yard line, and with the sack, they need to get inside the 23-yard line, and it'll be up to Tom Brandstatter.
If I'm Tom Brandstatter, I go 2 reads, one to Brandon Lloyd and one down the seam to Kendricks, and try to fire it to either one of them.
Again, you'll have a 2-minute warning and 1 timeout.
Look at they got 2 stacked over there on Brandon Lloyd. They got a safety in front of him and a corner behind him.
Incomplete. It'll be 4th down. Denario Alexander was the receiver he was looking towards. The Saints have already won today. The 49ers need this win to nail down the number 2 seed.
And Vic Fangio knows it, the defensive coordinator, and knows that that's where Brandstatter was going to look, right at Brandon Lloyd. He went and put what you call cloud coverage, is you put a safety on the line of scrimmage on the receiver, and then the fast corner right behind him and double cover him that way. Look at Vic now standing up.
And what will Vic Fangio call on 4th down and 17?
Well, they got cloud coverage again out there on Brandon Lloyd. Safety in front, corner behind.
Brandstatter's throw in the hands and then out of the hands of Denario Alexander. For those of you in the home markets of our late games, in a moment, you'll be leaving this game and we'll be switching you to the start of your game. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, Jennifer Hale down on the field. We're glad you're watching the NFL on Fox, and a Happy New Year. The magic maybe has run out with the injury to Kellen Clemens, and the 49ers, who got here on defense.
Hey, what a wake-up call for San Francisco if they hold on and win this thing in the last 2:37. What a wake-up call for this football team.
Isaac Sopoaga, checking in.
And this defense will go back to the drawing board and spend 2 weeks if they get this thing and get the bye next week. Obviously, they'll get it if they win and get themselves back right again.
And the 49ers.
Timeout, San Francisco.
Will use a timeout. We still have the 2-minute warning. And the Rams have 1 timeout remaining. 49er fans are hoping this is the return to the golden era when it was offense that really drove the 49ers Super Bowl teams. One of the great dynasties, 4 Super Bowls in the 80s with Bill Walsh in Montana. Of course, the great Jerry Rice.
I'm going to tell Ronnie Lott you said that.
And yeah, and Jim Harbaugh in his first year, a guy who said, a guy like Bill Walsh, his idol, Vince Lombardi, those are the kind of guys he'd like to spend time with. In his first year, trying to get the Niners to their 13th win. They've won the NFC West. That first round bye and home playoff game is what hangs in the balance in the remaining 2:37.
Look, there's a silver lining to this, and for that defense and Justin Smith and Ray McDonald and all those guys, that his defense gave up more than double today if this score stays this way, what they've given up all year against the lowest scoring offense in pro football with their 3rd quarterback.
Anthony Dixon carries, gets up to the 44-yard line, and the Rams are going to use their last timeout. They'll still have that 2-minute warning. Frank Gore in this game, the all-time leading rusher in 49er history, had just 7 carries. Want to make sure he's well rested for the postseason.
And Kendall Hunter ran the ball well, but as a team, the 49ers did not.
Kansas State and Arkansas clash in the only Big 12 SEC showdown in the Cotton Bowl, the 76th Cotton Bowl Classic from Cowboy Stadium. You'll see it on Fox in prime time, Friday, 8 Eastern. That's 5 Pacific.
You wonder if the layoff, and I always think about this in bowl games for Arkansas, if it hurts them. That team's won 10 consecutive games. You wonder, you do it week after week after week, and then you finish the season, you have to wait a few weeks to get ready for a bowl game. You wonder if they lose that momentum against Kansas State.
And I know NFL fans sometimes wonder about a first-round bye if a team
rests. It's a great thing in the NFL.
Their starters in the last game. 49ers did not do that here as Anthony Dixon carries again, trying to push the pile to midfield. It'll bring a 3rd and short, and they'll let the clock run. Rams cannot stop the clock on their own. 49ers have 2 timeouts remaining. Alex Smith putting it up 31 times. Still hasn't had a 300-yard passing game all season, but he did surpass the 3,000-yard mark for a season, first time in his career. 2 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter. 49ers lead it 34-27.
Today's game is sponsored by AT&T. Get it faster with 4G. Rethink possible. Fox.
Tim Ryan, Chris Myers here in St. Louis, and the Rams fighting to the finish in this NFC West rival. 17 fourth quarter points, putting the pressure on. It's 3rd and 1 at the 2-minute mark. Anthony Dixon gets the first down, and his touchdown is the difference right now in this football game. Today's game, a Mike Burks production, directed by Tom Yohe, Associate Director Brian Biederman, the broadcast associate Matt Saldana, Technical Director Tom Maslak, our tape room manned by Don Vermillion, Pat Caballero, the audio mixer Kevin McCloskey, our maritime philosopher Robert Levy. Special thanks to Frank Phillips, our entire production crew, and all those back at our studio show in Los Angeles. We want to thank, too, Ted Cruz of the Rams, Bob Lang of the 49ers.
Awesome, both of those guys.
For working with us throughout not just this game, the entire season, so that we can bring you the best in the National Football League every week that we get to do a game.
And I can't tell you this, and I'll say it 100 times, how much respect I have for Steve Spagnuolo. And really who he is as a person and the message that he has sold to this football team. You know, what happens is going to happen. He knows he has no control over that.
He's an easy guy to like.
Those players love him. And his consistency, despite the odds, they have been so impressed with Steve Spagnuolo.
And for Jim Harbaugh, intensity doesn't even begin to describe how he approaches things. And this 49er team had an 8-game winning streak during the year. They stumbled, losing 2 out of 3. They'll finish with 3 consecutive wins, get a bye week, and how will they perform in the playoffs?
Well, I think they'll be fine. I think there's a silver lining to this for their defense. They didn't forget how to play defense. It just wasn't a good 4th quarter for them. And they're going to continue to win dirty and do what they do and not make mistakes. Once again, +2 in the turnover, takeaway, giveaway. They forced 2. They did not give it away. They'll do what they've done all year long and win the football games dirty, as you like to say.
Jennifer Hale down on the field. Tim Ryan, has been great working with you all season long. I'm Chris Myers, and we appreciate your viewing of the NFL on Fox. The 49ers clinch the number 2 seed in the NFC and a first-round bye with an exciting win here in St. Louis. Stick around. Game 2 of your NFL on Fox.